Good morning. It is Danger Dan here in the talk shop. Got a wonderful show for you today. I talk with Mike Davis from Born Free. Him and Grant have been doing Born Free. This is the 12th year. Damn, that's a lot of shows. And it's grown from a small gathering to something that is insanely huge. And, you know, what a crazy time that they're facing this year for the show. They had to postpone it from June to September. I believe the new dates are, September 26th and 27th. And Mike said that I could race one of his bikes at the Stampede race. So I'm going to Born Free. It's happening. It is happening. So I hope to see you there. This show, like all shows, is brought to you by mcshoptees.com, your t-shirt of the month club. The only way to support every local motorcycle shop. We feature shops from all over the country. Every month you get a new shirt shipped to your house. Generally, it's a surprise. I was so stoked about next month's shirt that I put the artwork out yesterday with yesterday's show guest, Mikey Virus from Virus Moto, the winner of the Mint 400 in 2020. And I'm stoked about it, dude. Super stoked. This month's shirt was from a shop in Oklahoma called OKC Chop Shop. Rad graphic. Dude riding, it was Evel Knievel hauling a covered wagon. Super rad. Hopefully you're signed up and you already got one. If not, go to mcshoptees.com. Sign up. Use Danger Dan at checkout for $10 off your first month. We've got soft tees, heavy tees, women tees, and tees for your kids. You can buy it as a gift or set it up as a month-to-month system where we charge you at the beginning of every month and then send you a shirt. Hopefully it shows up before I charge you for the next one. Yeah, normally it does. Actually, we haven't had one not yet unless I just completely fucked up. But you'll have that when it's a one-man show. The first shop I ever featured was Brown Cycles out of Dallas, Texas. They've been in business since 1970. That's right, 50 years. Family owned and operated. David Brown, still working there today. Red Eye, who is in charge of the motor building, has been building motors there for over 20 years, and he is building my Sportster motor for my adventure bike right now. Super stoked that Red Eye's doing it. The other two guys, Jake and Scott, are both veterans of the Afghan and Iraq war, and they are just bad motherfuckers. That's right. They recently got a new tool called the Straight Shooter from Rack and Pull. It's a front-end power plant and swing arm alignment tool with laser precisions. That's right, dude. This will align your drivetrain in your bike, which is one of the most important things for aggressive riding. It's one of those improvements that you will notice more than a fucking pipe, more than $2,000 fucking Legend suspension on the back. Get your shit aligned, and Browns can do it for you. Follow them on the gram at Browns_cycles, or go see them in person at 5223 Military Parkway. They've got a large inventory of new and used parts, accessories, and service products. Boom. One of the ways that you can support this show and keep me going is go to DangerDansTalkShop.com and click on the Patreon support tab. Go there. Dude, as little as $1 a month goes a long way, man. A long way. And each month, we give away rad shit. Yesterday on the show, we gave away a lowbrow customs gift pack, dude. A $25 gift certificate and an auxiliary fuel tank. That's right, a fuel tank so you don't run out of gas like I do. We do that twice a month. We also give away a knife made by Nick every single month. We've been doing this for over 2 years, man. 2 years. And I'm going to give away one right now. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's see. Number generator, generate. Oh my gosh. I put the fucking wrong max number in there. Hold on a second. I was like, God damn, I don't have that many patrons. Okay, 68. So come over here to this sheet. This sheet says 68 is Donovan Walsh. You just won a knife made by Nick. Donovan Walsh out of San Marcos, Texas. Damn, dude, there was a Colorado below you and a California above you. Texas, knife staying in Texas. Hey, Donovan, thanks for supporting the show. You are a true patron. Can't do this without you. I want to thank Knives Made by Nick. Go check him out on the gram, his website. He makes an amazing product. I keep one on my hip at all times. I want to thank Lowbrow Customs. Dude, I ordered what did I order? Oh, a skid plate for my chopper. It's here. It came from fucking Germany. Dude, it's a LaBeef skid plate brought to me by GigaCycles through Lowbrow Customs, and it's bad to the bone. I'm super stoked. They were doing a sell on Bates Baja tires recently. I don't know if that's still going on. Go to Lowbrow Customs to find out for yourself. So you can win that kind of stuff for $1 a month. If you want to make a $5 pledge, you're going to have a chance at winning a trip to Nepal thanks to Motorcycle Sherpa. Bear and Booty have decided to give one of my amazing loyal listeners a free trip to Nepal to ride Himalayas in the Himalayas. Himalayans in the Himalayas. Dude, somebody's going to Nepal for $5, man. Go to DangerDanceTalkShop.com and sign up now. Go check out MotorcycleSherpa.com and see all the amazing expeditions that you can go on. And, dude, I cannot wait to go back. If you want to hear more about those trips, scroll back to my road shows where I went to Nepal and did a pretty good job audio documenting it. Dude, go sign up, man. Somebody's going to win a free trip. You don't want to be the guy that doesn't win because you didn't sign up. Because you got to sign up to win. Does that make sense? Dude, if it doesn't, get the fuck out of here. High Seas Jerky. Best jerky in the fucking country. Wait a second. In the galaxy. HighSeasJerky.com. Trust me, you need some trail meat for your next ride. You need some hot sauce. You need it all. Go check him out. Dude, you won't regret it. And stay away from the Reaper jerky if you're a little girl. You can't handle some hot shit because it is fucking hot. All right. Dude, did we do dates? We haven't done dates, man. Memorial Day weekend, Red River, New Mexico. We're going to ride the Enchanted Circle. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. I haven't confirmed it, but I'm pretty sure that the Gunstock Hill Climb at Laconia Bike Week has been postponed from June 17th to sometime in September. I don't know. I just don't know. Haven't been told. June 27th to 28th. Nope, that shit ain't happening. Born Free got changed to September 26th and 27th. That's right. July 16th, 17th, and 18th is the Run to Raton at JP Rodman Paintworks in Raton, New Mexico. That's what I'm talking about, JP. We are coming in hot, dude. Don't you fucking try and postpone shit because we're coming anyways. And I cannot wait. Now, if you're a racer and you want to race because all the races have been canceled, you've got your chance because in Cisco, Texas on May 3rd, that's this weekend, the Western Swing Shootout is happening, presented by Base Promotion at Red Gap Moto. Dude, this track is legit. Bryce has got, I'm assuming this is on the circle track, but he's got a TT track. He's got a trail system. Dude, make sure you're following him and you go ride his spot. He's a nutcase, and he loves his dirt, man. He takes so much pride in this track. It's amazing. But there's a $1,000 pro purse, $500 dash for cash. The classes are Open Pro, Open Hooligan, Open Am, Open Mad Dog, Open Vintage, 65cc Max Youth, 85cc Max Youth, Open Twin, Open DTX, and Open Framers. Spectators are welcome. That's right. Spectators are welcome. Not only can you race, but you can go watch racing. It's a 5th mile red clay short track. Rundown. 9 a.m. gates, 11 a.m. meeting, 12 to 1 practice, 2 p.m. is the races. Come on. All right, let's get into today's show with Mike Davis. We talk racing. What do we talk about? We talked about blogs a little bit. We talk about selling parts on the internet. We talk about Born Free and a little bit of Bigfoot talk at the end. Mike, it was good talking to you. I will see you in September. Well, Mike, thanks for joining me on this beautiful Tuesday.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Where are you at exactly?
I'm in Santa Ana, technically, Southern California. It's about, if you've ever been out to Born Free, I live kind of in the hills there. So I'm about 10 minutes from the show site. So it's Santa Ana, but most people wouldn't, associate it with the city of Santa Ana. It's kind of up in the hills, unincorporated.
Nice. So you're out on the outskirts.
Kind of, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, that's a beautiful country. I've ridden up there many a times, and God, it's great riding.
It's some fun riding out near the show, and like I said, I don't live too far from there. But the rest of SoCal sucks. Yeah. Unless you're on PCH or something,
Yeah, and that can get kind of goofy too.
Absolutely.
Well, did you grow up out there?
No, man. I grew up in Fresno, California, in the Central Valley, and I moved out here. I want to say 95.
Okay. 95.
OJ time. It was an OJ trial going on, and I moved out here at the exact same time.
No shit.
Yeah.
That wasn't happening in Fresno, was it?
No, it was happening here in LA, but it was weird. I had a Bronco exactly like that one, and that was the whole thing that just kind of always stuck in my mind when I moved out here.
At that point in time, you did?
I did. I had a 94 white Ford Bronco, just like the one they were in.
Come on, dude.
So when I moved out here, I was kind of like the joke,
That's funny. Well, and you got that white Jeep you're raffling off right now? That thing is fucking slick.
Yeah. It's actually kind of gold. It's hard to see in the videos and stuff, but yeah, that thing's amazing. Killer little original bitchin' little Jeep that some wacko airline or aircraft mechanic dumped a little Corvette motor into it. In like the mid 60s in Colorado. It was like his baby, and it's been through a few hands. I ended up getting it from a buddy. We made a trade on an FXR, and I love the thing, but like everybody else right now, the cash flow is a little tight.
Yeah, no shit, man. How's this affecting you right now? What's Santa Ana like?
As far as all that stuff goes, if you didn't know what was going on, like through the news or whatnot, you have no clue. Like it doesn't look any different, other than you do see people, wearing the masks and gloves and stuff, and they've made it a law now, I think, in public. If you go in a public space, you got to have it. But I mean, dude, if you went by the beach, or if you are riding your motorcycle or in your car, I mean, other than the traffic's a little lighter, but it's starting to get heavier. I mean, you would never know. Like, it's not like what you see on TV, and certainly not like the East Coast, where we feel for those guys. It's pretty mild. I don't know if it's just the weather, or maybe people in California are a little healthier, or maybe it was here earlier, or whatever the reasons are. It's not that scary at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, is it like shelter in place? I mean, are the businesses open? Can you go eat?
Yeah. So we were like California, which, I'm not a massive fan, to be honest, and been thinking about leaving for years.
Yeah.
And it's not just the politics. Like, I'm open to anything. It's just it's hard to live here, man. It's so expensive and stuff, but yeah, it was one of the earliest ones, shelter in place, which, it doesn't mean shit, really. You do what you want for the most part. There are restaurants and businesses and stuff like that closed down, which sucks. And I feel for those people. I mean, imagine like if you opened your little dream restaurant, right before this happened, spent all your money, and now it's closed, and you'll probably never reopen it.
No. There's people that will never recover from this.
Absolutely. It's scary. So yeah, bars, restaurants.
The people will, but the businesses may not.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. It's devastating. But yeah, shelter in place, no business, no non-essential, which, I didn't know a donut shop and a liquor store is not essential, but whatever. Those are open. I would say 60%, 70% of the businesses are probably open.
Yeah, it's amazing how many businesses are essential.
Exactly. I mean, I and the other things, I don't know who's enforcing any of that stuff. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, I feel like all businesses are essential for somebody, and it's...
Well, for sure, dude. I was watching this thing yesterday, and I try not to watch the news at all. In fact, I haven't watched any major news in over a month. I think it's almost 6 weeks. But I caught something on Facebook or something. It was like the governor of New Jersey saying that liquor stores are essential because of basically alcoholics, and they were afraid that if they didn't leave them open, a bunch of alcoholics would kill themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, that sounds crazy, but fuck, I guess that's reality.
No, I mean, I've heard of people or like hospitals like having to give patients beers who have been in there for, an extended period of time. It's like the withdrawals are so bad that the hospital's like, no. He can have a beer in bed. Like, we're not going to deal with that here. So it is essential.
It is, man. I guess all roles are off, on the table, and you basically do anything you need to do to get through this.
Yeah. Well, so back to Fresno, man. Did you grow up riding in Fresno?
Yeah, I was loved BMX bikes and built ramps and jumps, and we lived across the street. Like across the street from my house was this big giant field. I've told the story before, but it was a huge field, undeveloped. It wasn't like Southern California where they're throwing up houses everywhere. I mean, probably from like 4 to like 12, this field was vacant. I mean, it was huge, probably 10 acres or something. So
nice.
Me and my brother, neighborhood kids, just like, we were 70s kids growing up in, Central Valley of Fresno or, Central Valley, California, just, riding your bikes, staying out all day, riding motorcycles. I mean, I rode my motorcycles all over, down the canal banks to 7-Eleven to, play video games. It was kind of, they weren't enforcing all the rules that they do today. So, we grew up riding dirt bikes and then got into like 3-wheelers and quads and all that stuff. Probably till I was about like 14.
Yeah. Did you race at all?
That was it. I never raced. We went to like Pismo Dunes and did all the hill climbs and stuff like that. And we had tracks that we built out there and brought in tires and all kinds of crazy shit. Cause there was about,
oh, wow,
I don't know, 10, 12 kids in my neighborhood that were all kind of doing the same stuff. So we all had our fun out there in the field and but never like race. That really wasn't my thing,
What kind of
I don't really
dirt
like
bike
to go
did you have?
fast.
You don't like to go fast?
Not really, man. I mean, I love like racing our take shift stuff and the Triumph stuff I like and anything, but I'm not really like a speed dude, like I don't drive my car that fast. I like to jump, and ride tracks and all that, but like going fast just wasn't something that it just doesn't appeal to me that much.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But back to the bike thing. I think my first little bike was a Honda Z50, like maybe like 70, I don't know, 75 or 6, somewhere in there. And then then got an RM80. And it was like, holy shit! Like you go from a Z50, automatic 3 speeds, 4, whatever it might have been a 4-speed, a little 4-stroke, governed out at about 40. To an RM80 that was just like, holy cow.
Yeah, that's a step up, dude. The 2-strokes are fucking hot, man.
Oh man, it's crazy. My brother my dad was kind of we're a lot alike in some ways and then completely different in others, but he was kind of like a nut and he went down, bought us 2 brand new bikes. I think he financed them and I don't know, he probably never even paid the payment, ever. But we had these fast ass bikes, man, and we were out terrorizing the neighborhood. I mean, that really changed it too when you start hearing 2-strokes peeling around.
Yeah, I was just going to say the neighbors couldn't have been too thrilled about the 2-strokers.
You know what? It just was a different time, man. It's like people just didn't care as much, and we weren't riding at night and stuff like that. It was kind of midday, and I don't know. There's a few times I can remember maybe a cop coming by and saying, what are you doing or whatever. But for the most part, it was easy and fun.
Yeah. So when you turned 16, did you get like a street bike immediately or?
No, man, I wasn't into street bikes at all. In fact, I can't even recall even looking at one or even seeing one and thought it was cool.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't on my plate. So I don't know.
I mean, the biker scene had to be pretty big when you were growing up in Fresno, right?
It was, but you know what? I mean, unless you're really paying attention, like I remember, this is like the story everybody tells, but I do remember we were going to Bass Lake. It was me, my brother, my mom, dad. We wwere younger. This is before my dad, mom got divorced and all that. And we were in the car, and in fact, we were in the back of a pickup. We rode we went to the Grand. I tell my kids this story and they flip. We rode to the Grand Canyon in the back of my dad's truck.
Come on, dude.
I mean, that's when you could ride in the back of a pickup, man, and you could go. We went to the Grand Canyon. He had a little camper shell, but it wasn't a camper. It was just a shell.
Gotcha.
We sat back there. That's all. I don't even know how far that is. Probably like 12 hours or something. But yeah, we would do all kinds of crazy shit like that. Back
You
there was
guys
fun.
had seats back there? Or, I mean, were you
No.
guys just sitting on the
No, you sit in the
metal
wheel well,
floor?
or you just sit down.
Oh man, I took my kids. They got a good truck ride about 30 miles down some good roads this weekend, and it was early in the morning. It was kind of cold, and they were stoked, but they were also fucking freezing their dicks off.
Probably
They
scared,
enjoyed- Oh, they enjoyed that wind, man, whipping around. But like I said, they were pretty fucking cold.
Oh man, those are fun times. But anyway, yeah. So back the street stuff, like I was telling a story. I lost my train of thought. But
Going to Bass
we were
Lake, dude.
going up to Bass Lake, and the exactly what you would think in mid-70s, group of bikers just wrong side of the road, choppers loud flying by, going up there because Bass Lake at that time was a pretty good destination for a lot of clubs and stuff, and I'm sure that's who they were. But that was kind of the only real taste of any of that I got until I moved out here.
No shit. How old was your brother? Older or younger than you?
Yeah, he's like 3.5 years older.
Okay. He ride?
So he doesn't. No, he rode the dirt bikes and stuff, and then we got into cars. So that's where that went. So
Gotcha.
like 14, 15. Well, that's where I was that age. He was a little older. He got into muscle cars. Had a GTO and a Charger, and him and my dad be working on the motors and all that stuff. So I kind of like that stuff, but went more in that custom, like 50s kind of car vibe is where my head went, and they were doing the muscle car thing.
What'd your dad do?
Fuck, man, what didn't he do? I don't know. He was into lumber. He had this big lumber company. He was a trucker. He had fence company. He was kind of, he wasn't the best dad. He was kind of a badass. And, I mean, I could tell you a million stories about him beat people up, which I don't like and I'm not into, but I'm just saying, like, wake up at 2 a.m. and some guy's at the door and, next thing you know, they're fighting in the street. Like it was like that. And then not exaggerating.
Wow. Was he, he didn't ride bikes?
He didn't ride bikes. He knew a lot of guys. And I think his brother, they were all kind of like tough guy stuff, in Fresno. His whole, he never graduated from high school, and he was just a tough dude. And his brothers played football, and they were all kind of like that. But he never had a bike, as far as I can remember. He had a bunch of cars and stuff, but I never could recall seeing a motorcycle other than a dirt bike.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I was on tour in California probably 8 years ago, and we played in Fresno. I think that's really the only time I've ever been, but I seem to remember, now given I was drinking a lot back then, but Fresno seemed like a rougher place, like a lot different than the other places we went to in California.
I haven't been really back there. My brother, he lives on the outskirts in a little town called Clovis. It's kind of a little western town, if anybody knows what that is. But and my mom still lives there. I don't talk to my dad. I haven't talked to him in a long, long time. I think he still lives on the outskirts. But yeah, it's definitely a rougher place. I mean, there are certainly nice areas, and I didn't grow up in those slums, so don't get me wrong. We were in a kind of, they called it Sunnyside. It was on the outskirts of town. There was some horse property and stuff like that, and then there was some regular neighborhoods too. But there are and were some super rough areas of Fresno that we used to go mess around, doing shit, driving around, shooting guys with paintball guns and all that good stuff. But downtown where all the hookers were. I mean, it was like any kind of like, downtown area that wasn't revitalized, just kind of a bums and hookers and, kind of old businesses and stuff like that. So we used to have some fun, then it started getting a little bit dangerous, things started happening.
So 95, you went to high school in Fresno?
Yeah, I did. And then, didn't go to college or anything like that. Was working, got to have, a bunch of jobs. I worked at a pet store for like 2 years, which was probably the funnest time I've ever had. The dudes were crazy nuts. They're still there. But they used to pull fucking tricks on people. I can't even tell you all the stories they used to do there, but that was a blast. And then got into like air conditioning and worked for some big, HVAC contractor for like 4 years doing everything and kind of learned that trade. And then about 95, I just was like, man, I don't want to do this shit.
Yeah.
Calling in attics and under mobile homes and doing all that hard work. And a buddy of mine who I'd met in Fresno at an apartment complex I moved into, moved out to Southern California. And I'd never even been out here other than Disneyland. And he hit me up one day. He's like, "Oh man, you got to come check it out. I'm living in, Corona Del Mar, which is like this ritzy little area near Newport Beach." And he got some sales job. He was kind of like a con man, and he got this sales job. And he's like, "You got to come out here." I'm like, "Dude, I've never even been on an airplane." And anyway, ended up getting out here.
So you flew out there, picked me up at LAX. I was just like, what is this? This is crazy. Yeah.
People everywhere and all that. We drove, like an hour to his house, and then I hung out there for a weekend, went back to work on Monday, quit my job.
That was it.
Yep. I'd been working there like 5 years, quit my job. I had this girlfriend and didn't tell her what I was doing. I even had a house. I bought a little house and stuff. And I told my brother, "Hey, you got to move into my house. I'm leaving." And so I spent a week. I quit, packed up all my shit, got a U-Haul truck, had a 64 Galaxy convertible that I was towing behind it, and then drove to the dude's house and then called my girlfriend and told her I didn't live in Fresno anymore.
Oh, that's one way to do it.
Yeah. My friends always joke. I just told her I don't live there anymore. And that was it. Never talked to her again.
So what was the plan there? You were like, you're just going to figure something out? Did you have an idea?
No. So he, like I said, he was a sales guy. It was a flooring business, which I'm still in. And he was a good con man, dude. So he had told his boss that I had all this experience and his buddy was moving out from his hometown and all this stuff. So I ended up, talking to his boss. I was wearing my buddy's clothes. I had no dress clothes or anything. I had, just t-shirts and jeans, and wore his dress clothes. I had safety pins in him and shit because he was bigger than me. So to try to make the things fit, sat down with this dude, basically didn't say a word for an hour. Somehow he offered me a job, and then the rest was history, man. I started working for this company, and it's evolved and changed over the years, and I've changed 5-10 different jobs doing it all in the same industry, but kind of just agreed to whatever my buddy said, and he ended up hiring me.
That's one way to get in there.
Yep. Exactly. Had no idea how sales worked. I knew nothing about the flooring business, and
what were you guys selling to contractors or?
Yeah, exactly. So he worked for this carpet mill, which and he was selling to designers and specifiers and contractors and all this stuff, and basically told him I was doing that in Fresno. I had no idea how that even worked. Probably took me like a year to even just figure it out. Like I had to use a typewriter.
Were you making like a salary or was it commission based?
No, dude, the guy offered me $50,000 and I was making $14 an hour, 12-hour days, working air conditioners, climbing in attics and all that shit I was telling you about. To making $50,000, I didn't know what I was doing. Like I don't even think I really worked for a year.
Dude, you're a con man too.
Kinda. I mean, I've learned now, obviously, and I think I kind of know what I'm doing, but anyway, it was a fun time, and it was all new. So, being in Southern California in 1995 and 96 was, for me, that was like I'd never, ever been to Newport Beach and Laguna Beach and hung out and went out in LA and all those clubs and all that shit. Like it was pretty crazy.
I mean, and the building had to be going off at that point, right?
It was kind of, man, I don't even remember because I really didn't care. I was just like, couldn't believe I was here and doing all that stuff and going all those places. And then, I was making good money, and then it all kind of, the company went bankrupt and it kind of fell apart. Ended up kind of getting back into the same industry with another company. And
were you driving around in your drop top Galaxy selling floors?
No, I sold it.
Oh.
I had to buy an SUV, so I think I bought, I can't even remember. I think it was like an Isuzu Trooper. At the time, 95, 96 was the height of like having an SUV, and I thought it was so badass. I put like a grill guard on it and stuff like that. It was green.
Dude, we haven't gotten over that here in Texas. Like that's what you drive out here, that and trucks.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I thought I was cool, had that thing, and, kind of learned the business the best I could. Kind of faked my way through it for a couple years, and then then started to get serious and met my wife and did all that stuff.
So when did you start riding bikes? When did you get on two wheels again?
So I would say it was probably like I want to say around 2006. I met this dude when I first moved out here through the cars. John Edwards. I'm sure a lot of people know him. Jedwards. He's a painter, builds bikes, cars, all kinds of stuff. And I met him through a buddy. We were going to one of like the car shows, Back to the Beach or something in Huntington, and met the guy John. Started talking to him a little bit. We were hanging out a little bit, going to like Pomona swap meet and stuff for the car stuff. And then one day he showed up with this Triumph that he had built, and I just saw it and just blew my mind. Like, couldn't believe what I was looking at. Never seen anything like it. It was like a chopper, like a hardtail, but still looked like a Triumph for the most part. And I was just like, this is it, man. I got to get one. I got to get something,
Brilliant.
just like hit me hard. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, that's cool. I was just like, couldn't stop looking at it. Couldn't stop fucking with it. Just wanted it so bad.
What were you doing before that? I mean, just the car stuff? Just
Yeah,
swapping cars? That was what the free time was consumed by?
yeah, exactly. I had a couple of cars. I mean, I was like everybody else, you buy a car, mess around with it, sell it, buy another one. So I was doing a lot of that, going to a few car shows and swap meets and stuff like that. But just the bike stuff just didn't grab my interest at all. Again, I wasn't really seeing it, even though it's here. I just wasn't taking notice until I saw that bike. And then once I saw that bike, it was on 100%.
Yeah.
Like, went out and found this BSA that I knew nothing about, like a early 50s BSA. I think I took a credit card and got cash out of it and went and bought this thing.
Nice.
Immediately took it home and took it apart.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't know we do that, but I don't recommend doing that. If you got a running bike, keep the fucking thing running. Especially on British bikes. I had no idea they had special tools or how they worked. Ended up taking it home, taking the thing apart the first day. Thank God I got it back together. And kind of half-ass running, rode it around my neighborhood a few times, and then.
What did you do to it the first time you took it apart? Just took it apart and put it back together, or did you customize?
Yeah, I took it apart. It had like I saw my buddy's bike, and then all of a sudden it woke me. So I was looking on the internet, and I started to find like blogs. It was right at the time where people were putting blogs up. I mean, really early. Mainly more like Jockey Journal, and like Chopper Dave had a site, and there was like
the forums.
Forum, some fuck choppers thing or something I was looking at, and started seeing, pictures of bikes like that. And then I can't remember if like Greasy Culture or Dice are out at the time. It might've been like first issue. Anyway, I got one of those, bought a bunch of horse magazines and a bunch of shit, and just started like getting into it. And so I took the bike apart, changed the handlebars, put a different seat on it, just like typical stuff I do today, just kind of church it up, make it look a little cooler. Even though I really didn't know what I was doing, I just had a look I think I wanted.
Yeah.
And got it back going, peeled it around the neighborhood. I don't think I even registered it. Sold that, hopped on eBay, and that's right when and some guys may or may not know him, Ian Barry this is way before the Falcon motorcycle days, which I don't even know if it's still around, but he was doing these Triumphs where you basically take like a stock Triumph, hardtail it, throw on some drag bars, flat black paint the frame or the tank, and put like a flat fender on it. Real simple bike, but I saw that and I was like, oh, that's what I want. I want that.
Yeah.
So I ended up buying one of his bikes from him, got it home, rode it around my neighborhood for 5 seconds. Like, everything broke.
Oh,
like,
fuck.
That fender strut, the headlight mount, the things were shaking, violent. And ended up calling him. We actually became friends, took it back. Like, he didn't know how to do anything either. He was using a $300 welder from Home Depot, like flux core, which I even have one. Just like cold welding everything, big gloppy spots, or spots on there that had no integrity. So everything would break. And that happened probably for a solid year. I started doing everything myself, made my own handlebars. And
what year was
everything.
This Triumph?
The first one was a 66. It was a 66 Bonneville. I think it was the second bike that Ian built and sold. And, for a lot of guys at that time who were paying attention, I mean, he was doing those like one a month. And they would pop up on eBay. He'd put them on eBay, go up top of Mulholland, take these killer pictures of the bike, overlooking Hollywood and all this stuff. And the dude had a racket. So I started kind of doing the same thing. So I started buying these cheap Triumphs off Craigslist or wherever for a couple grand, bring them home, swap out, bars or tires, or I was doing a lot of struts, which is so stupid, taking the shocks off and just put struts on there.
Oh yeah.
And then I started selling them like literally like one every 2 weeks or so.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So I used to take a picture in front of my driveway, and a lot of people know that about me. And if they remember, like, it was the same picture. It was in front of this hedge. I'd have a bike sitting there. And I started doing that probably, like I said, a couple of months until, I probably did like 20 or 30 of those things.
No shit.
And then it just, everything was going at the time. That's when the blog started popping up.
So you can say, is that when you started your blog? Was it right around then?
Yeah. Yep. Maybe a year in, I started doing that, and then just thought, man, I'd, kind of put this blog together and throw people's stuff up there for sale, which no one was really doing that. Everybody was kind of just, writing stories or taking pictures or whatever. So I thought, man, if I put people's stuff up there for sale, get more people looking, and then I get some stuff and, start making t-shirts and the whole thing that everybody's done. But,
yeah.
I was doing a little different, and man, I was getting people hit me up with killer parts and killer bikes for sale. And my whole thing, which pissed a lot of people off, but I think it was good at the beginning, is I would never put the prices on there ever.
Really?
Yep. You'd have to email me. So it was like,
even if it wasn't your parts.
Well, if it wasn't my part and I didn't buy it, I would just turn them on to the guy, whoever was selling it. So I'd say, hey, email so-and-so direct for all the information. And that was it. But if it was my stuff, I would just put this thing up there for sale and then make them email me. And I thought it worked great, because then it didn't give everybody an idea of what everything is going for or what I'm trying to ask for this stuff. And
how did you know what to ask for it, being that fresh into it?
I don't know. I think I was just we were going to swap meets. Like, I was the king of swap meets at that time. I don't really enjoy them too much anymore.
Yeah.
But I go to antique swap meets, car swap meets, bike swap meets, and I would buy, like, if a dude had 6 rims sitting there, I would say, hey, how much for all those rims? Where, again, this was early, and I'm not some pioneer, and everybody's doing that now, but I would buy all the rims.
Yeah.
Instead of just buying one, I'd buy them all. Or if the guy had, like, 10 sets of handlebars and they were like a cool bend, I would buy all of them. But, I was also hanging out with dudes like I said, John, who knew a lot of shit, Mark Drews, who was, knew a ton and had a big or a big bike, background and car background. So we would go to swap meets together, and I'd learn from those dudes. Like, I didn't know.
At that point, nobody else is putting, what else, other places on the internet did you have to sell parts, like Craigslist and eBay, I guess?
Yeah, that was before Craigslist. Definitely on eBay. Yep, definitely on eBay. But like all the catchy brands that everybody rags on now, like Bait Seats and Flanders bars and all that shit. I started learning about that through them, and then started buying all the old Chopper magazines and looking at stuff. And then the guy would list out like, oh man, these are Stelling and Helling handlebars. So then I'd be searching Stelling and Helling, or go to a swap meet, and some old guy would have a bunch of bars sitting in the corner or something with the sticker on them, and then I go, hey, how much for those? Oh, $1 a pair. I'd buy them all, and then I'd go back on my blog and I'd sell them for $200-$300 a set, and dudes were buying them.
There you go.
They were buying them, and
now were you
everything I put up, I was
shipping worldwide at that point? Where were you shipping to?
Yeah, I would ship it everywhere. Like, that's, again, it wasn't the first one doing this. I give credit to all those guys before, but I started, I would ship to Japan, where a lot of people were like, I don't know how to do that. So I'd ship there and started selling a lot of parts to those guys who were super cool, super passionate. And I probably, we've become friends. And so is a lot of people have become friends with all those dudes over there, where early on, like, we didn't know who they were. They didn't know us. And, now we go over there, and everybody's going to Japan to bike shows and meeting these dudes and going to their shops, and it's become like a big thing. But
yeah, how was that communication early on? Like,
well, via email or whatever, super easy, because they can translate it.
Gotcha. Okay,
and
that makes sense.
Those dudes, were super into all that stuff and have been for a long time, well before I even was into it. It's just they didn't really have like a place to go get the stuff.
Yeah, they didn't have access to Southern California parts that those old dudes have been holding on to for years.
Especially online. Those serious Japanese guys have been coming over here for years. I mean, years, 20, 30, 40 years, going to the all the big swap meets, Olean, Davenport, and Wasion, all that stuff. So they're not dumb. But this newer group, which was kind of like us, these younger guys, they were not afraid to buy stuff online or over the internet. And where the older guys, the guys that were doing it, they would come over here for these big trips, and they had all the dough and they could afford to do it. But these other guys, as we found out later, were fucking taking loans out. I mean, they live in a apartment, the size of your car, and they had 2 panheads or a knucklehead in their, little tiny closet storage space. And we'd be like, man, how'd you afford to buy that thing? They were paying American prices. And then you find out they were all getting loans and shit.
Wow.
So it was crazy how passionate they were and what they would do to get something they wanted. And then we started building like a trust. So they knew, like, hey, if I buy something from Mike, I know for sure it's what he says it is. It's in good shape, or, whatever he described, and I'm going to get it. Because, you got to think how easy it would be to rip those people off. They have no voice. They got no one to go to. They can't send somebody to your house, knocking on the door like they used to do to my dad. Yeah. And, like these guys, they're so mild mannered. Even when they're upset, they're not upset.
Yeah.
And I got in the middle of actually a few things where I was posting guys stuff, and they were ripping people off, or ripping some Japanese dudes off a bike and some parts. And believe it or not, I had to go collect. Not that I went knocking on doors, but I sent them some pretty, good messages, or threw a phone call out there and said, hey, I'm posting your shit for sale. And then you're not only ruining my name, you're being a dick and cheating these people. Either give them back their money, or I'm coming to get the bike or whatever. And
wow,
a couple of times I actually got a bike for a guy, got 10 grand for another dude, and like another guy, $15,000. But I was just blown away that guys would do that shit.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's awesome that you would do that, because most people are like, well, fuck it, I didn't do that. It's not my responsibility. But yeah, I mean, I can see how you would take responsibility in it. If they got clued in on the guy from your site, that's pretty rad.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I was trying to keep it all above board, honest, and making sure no one got cheated. And I would say 99% of the time, everything went really good. It was just there's a few dudes out there I haven't seen in a while, but they would do that shit. They take pictures of Craigslist stuff that wasn't even theirs, throw another ad up, hook some poor Japanese dude that was just dying to buy something, and made a good little sales pitch and then never delivered.
Why do you think that they've got so much passion for those American bikes?
Dude, those guys have been into, it doesn't matter if it's vintage Levi's or rock, Elvis or whatever. They've been into the, American culture, that, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s stuff forever. And then I think the bike thing, just like it did here, got in their wheelhouse. They started seeing photos and magazines, and, it's with like Vibes and the Chopper magazine in Japan. I can't think of the name of it at the time, was starting to get big, and they were running a bunch of SoCal guys' bikes, the Thinners and all those dudes were showing, had their bikes in the magazine. And I think it just sparked it over there, just like it did here. It just exploded. And, those dudes, I will say, man, they ride their bikes. They work on their stuff. They love it. They, way more than I do, and probably most people over here. So when people say, oh man, selling shit to Japan, it's never coming back and all that stuff, like I get it to a point, but it's also, those people are just, I mean, they're awesome, and they're as passionate or more as we are. So
when did you get to first go over there and experience that?
I went over there with Moon Eyes and all those guys. God, I've gone about 5 times. Grant, my partner, and other buddies, they go every year. I can't do it with the family, but I want to say it was about maybe 2009.
Okay.
I went, I think, for the first time. And, as you can imagine, if you've ever gone, it's just like you walk into that place during setup and just, and I'm talking about Moon Eye Show, and you're leveled. It's just like,
yeah.
We become a little immune to it now because we've seen so much stuff and all that. But you got to think, at the time you walk in there and it's just like, oh my God, it's like the best of the best of the best. It doesn't matter if the dude was building like a mini bike or like had a knucklehead. Like, the shit was incredible. Like, everything they did, they went above and beyond. And, they were, even though it was done here, not to nearly the level, they were doing all that old looks, and old parts and rusty shit way before we were doing it over here, way before. and you just didn't see it, as much. And you go there and you see all this stuff, and it's just like, holy shit. It's like a awakening, and then everybody's so cool. And then the fact that a lot, you can't communicate totally with a lot of these dudes actually made it more fun, because then it became a lot of like, we always joke like these gestures and like the dirty words and just the real base, 2 or 3 things you say to a guy. Next thing you're laughing, and, drinking a beer with the dude or whatever. So it was kind of that, like, so basic. It was like, going to like first grade, it was real easy to get along with these dudes. There wasn't a lot of attitudes. And I feel like sometimes the less communication there is, sometimes the better it is.
Yeah.
Before all the arguing and the who did it first and who's better shit starts, it's just more of that raw, everybody's having a good time and just appreciating it.
Yeah, they're just stoked to have company, to be in the
For
presence.
Sure.
So
Yep.
2009, I mean, that was like right at the beginning of Born Free, huh?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was before or after. I'd have to really look back. But yeah, 2009 was the first year of Born Free.
2009, yeah, okay. That's what I was thinking. So this is 12 coming up.
Yeah. Our challenging year 12.
What a trip, man.
For sure, dude. It definitely was not on the table, even continuing on past one. When we first started this thing, it was just something we wanted to try to do. And I'm sure you heard all the stories on how it got started. But yeah, to think we would be at 12 and even thinking about 13. I mean, with what's going on with 12, and we certainly want to have it, and we're feeling 99% sure we will have it at our new date, which I'm sure September 26th and 7th. We moved it from June, the end of June. We feel like we're going to be able to have it, but it doesn't give us a lot of time to start planning for 13, because we usually take about a month off and then we get back on it with, the idea, the giveaway bikes, the builders and all that stuff. So shoving the show so far out in September, we're actually working on 13 and ideas right now.
Wow.
And it's going to be a pretty quick turnaround, being, basically being done with the show October 1 and then have to fire back up and be ready to go in June, isn't really a lot of time when you do all the stuff that we do, and a lot of people don't realize that, don't care, and that's fine. But it's not like we just throw a date up and then see everybody at the show.
You sure that's not it?
I wish. if we were smart, we wouldn't do the invited builders. We just invite dudes with bikes. If we were smart, we wouldn't put all the effort, the giveaways, the online, all that stuff. I mean, I know there are so many people appreciate it, but there's so many people that basically tell you suck every day. It's like, it's almost worth, it's like, why are we doing this shit? Grant always says, no good deed goes unpunished. And he likes saying all those stupid sayings, but it actually is true. It's like, you try to do something cool, man. And just like someone's just waiting. They're waiting the second to tell you you're doing it wrong and you suck, I try to keep it positive, and we're like right now we're doing this art contest, and it's been a blast,
dude. It's been so rad. So I've been coaching your artist for sure, just for the record.
Oh, I thought it was okay, hey, we've done some art contests in the past before, and they were good and they were fun and all that. But right now, with everybody at home and feeling bummed out and depressed and all that stuff, and especially, guys building bikes really aren't stopping what they're doing, and they're always part of the show. But I felt like, hey, like anybody can draw, doodle, a tattooer, a painter, a sculptor, whatever. Like, let's create a little fun contest to get people's mind off shit, and we'll give them some cash and some prizes and stuff. It was just kind of like a fun idea, because I know artists can be sensitive about, like, I'm not going to do art and give it to you for free, and we never expect that. We always pay for our art, always.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's a buddy or whatever. We pay good for it. But we thought, hey, this would be a cool thing. So it's been going so good, man. We've got over 200 entries. I mean, we're working on right now trying to figure out.
I feel like you just made your job that much harder now, because you've got to narrow it down.
Well, yeah. So we're trying to get to the top 10. But what people don't realize is that, we have 220 entries. Well, that's 220 emails that I got.
Oh, shit.
Half the time, the people, and most of the folks, which is awesome, are from other countries. So there are a lot from the States, but I would say 70% are from overseas.
That many.
Yep.
Are you translating your email ahead of time, or you just send it to them in English?
It comes in English, but it's like, they don't quite understand. And, there's some, one guy sent me like 10 entries, and it's like, hey man, I get it. I love it. but 10 from one guy is kind of a lot. What I'm getting at is hard to wrangle,
Yeah.
and then making all those posts every day and trying to put up as much art as we possibly can. It's not an easy job, So I would say again, 99% of the people were cool and rad. This is so great. You guys are giving artists a chance and love to see everything. And then a couple dudes, chiming in on how we're doing it wrong and how we're taking advantage of people and how we're profiting off people and all this shit. It's like, really? It's like, fuck. I mean, I know it's only a handful of dudes, but it almost makes it worth not doing.
You just got to ignore those motherfuckers, dude. Because, I mean, that's just a sign you're doing something right. I always worry sometimes, like, I've never seen, well, there's been a couple, but, like, there's never been any good memes making fun of me. And I put out a show every week. I'm like, maybe this isn't good. Like, maybe that's not a good sign that I'm not getting hated on at all. So,
I mean, I don't have a problem with all that stuff. I mean, I certainly don't like it when they pick on friends. Like, you want to pick on the show, dude, go to those meme pages. There's hundreds.
Yeah, you guys are getting way more attention than I am on those meme pages. There's no doubt about
Born Free, costume party, Born Free cosplay, Born Free. Like, I don't care. It doesn't bother us. Go for it. Knock yourself out. Like, I've even commented on there, like, hey, if we didn't have the show, you wouldn't have nothing to talk about. So, but when they pick on somebody personal, that's why I'm not 100% in on that.
Yeah.
Even if I don't really care for the person, it's like, you really don't have to go that personal, to make fun of this shit. Like, I don't know. So, but back to the art thing. It's like when you're doing something that you feel is a good deed and you're trying to give some people some exposure, and we did, and then going to give some cash out, which is pretty good. And we're going to actually end up putting probably 3 first places together, a second and a third instead of just one, because there's so many killer pieces. And that's $750 per first place, 500 for second, 250 plus we're giving them big swag bags.
I didn't see all that, the cash payouts like that.
Yeah, it was all in the beginning. I mean, I didn't want to rehash it every time I put up artwork, but it was there. So we're trying to give back and put some money in people's pockets if we can, and help them. And we created a hashtag that you can go, the DF12 art contest or whatever it is, and you can see everybody's artwork. You can follow the artist. It was the easiest way to do it. It was the best way to do it instead of trying to call out each artist. Because like I said, before, it's like they're not sending me their Instagram name, and then I try to search for them. I can't find them, or it's some crazy ass, spelling with 12 underscores. So we just felt it easier to just put the tag out there. We put the tag in every post, like, here's all the art, follow them, support them, hire them, whatever. And, again, it's worked great. A couple of dudes, and I don't know why it just sat wrong with me. I just felt like, because maybe I was trying to do something positive.
Well, I think you are, because, I mean, like me, I have a t-shirt company. I put out new art every month. I'm constantly looking for artists. And I've gone, like, the hardest thing is dealing with artists, but finding more artists through what you're doing has been awesome. So any artist that has submitted something, even if they don't get picked for your first, second, or third, there are other companies, I'm sure, just like me, that are scrolling through that hashtag looking for future help.
No, and that's awesome. I mean, that is great, man. And we hope people do that and find these people. And a lot of them aren't pros. I mean, there's certainly a few people that we got that were like, dude, these people know what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They formatted the art and everything's perfect, and like you can tell, like they know. But then there's so many dudes that drew with pen and paper or even an ink pen and did this incredible piece that probably took who knows how long, and shaded it all in with a fucking ballpoint pen. And it's just like, dude, that's a lot of work, No,
what's awesome is, like, I picked some of those, those profiles from the artists that are on the hashtag, and then I go to their page, and there's like no art. There's like, it's obvious that they don't do this for a living, but yet they just produce some killer piece of art. And I like using people like that, even though it's really more difficult in the long run getting it all formatted. My printers has to do so much more to it, but man, it just gets a real unique vibe.
No, and then gets people excited, gets start showing their talents, gets kids. We had some awesome little kids get involved, and just, I don't know, man, it just gets people thinking, and gets some of this bad times off their mind, gets the creative juices flowing. And what we want to do too is now, in fact, I got a guy that wants to help us, is that with all that artwork, I want to have it at Born Free somehow. Now, to even think about doing that and getting it all here, it's like I'm getting a fucking ulcer thinking about it. But I threw it out there. This dude, I think he's in Idaho or Utah. I got to get back with him. Is willing to help set it up, facilitate it, get all the art. People are going to have to send it any way possible, and we just want to show it at the show. And if those artists want to come, we certainly want to have them.
That's
but I think
rad.
it would be cool to see 100, 200 pieces of art, or as many as we can get, all displayed at the show. With their name and all the good stuff on there. I think it'd be cool.
No, it'd be real cool. That's actually a really good idea, and I think all those artists would be really stoked.
No, I think so. I think so.
And speaking of contests in Born Free, the People's Champ, man, I feel like that. You talked about how much work the art thing is. Like the amount of work that Show Class and those dudes put into the People's Champ throughout the years. There's just so much going on, man. But it's been so great. Like you guys have experienced, finding new builders for the show.
That program, Builtwell has it now, and we love the dudes at Builtwell. I mean, they're super professional and fun and easy down to do anything, easy to communicate and talk to. So we shoot ideas off each other, and they ask questions and stuff like that. So it's been a really good transition from Justin at Show Class, and those guys were great too at the time. It was super fun. They brought a little kind of a raunchy element to the show in that whole thing, which was great and like it was needed, and balanced out all the different vibes of the whole show going on. So it was fun. But yeah, the People's Champ, dude, we've gotten some of our best builders from that program over the years, even if they got eliminated like in the first or second rounds of some of the stuff, when there's 20 guys or whatever they start with, like Justin. Kind of lost the track of his last name, but anyway, Justin from the Midwest, he's built some incredible bikes for us, won Best in Show, built a bike for Bobby Green, went to the Harley Museum, all that stuff. And he was eliminated, I think, in one of the early rounds 3 or 4 years ago. And then you got like guys like Hawk and, Josh Allison and Scotty Detwell. I mean, you go down the list of people we have involved right now, and they were all dudes that were in Show Class. And I think other than CT Newman and Daryl, I mean, most of them weren't the winners. Like, we don't just go after the winner.
Yeah.
We go after dudes that get eliminated early.
Well, yeah, just like I'm doing with your art contest. Like I'm going after all those people, all the art that I saw that I liked, whether they get picked for winner or not.
For sure. And, and it also just opens the doors up, because people think, oh, we just pick our friends to be builders, or we just pick the cool guys, or, the dudes have done it 50 times. It's absolutely not that. We look and search and listen and talk to people to try to find guys, new people. It's not easy.
No,
to do.
I've made this argument before. People say like the magazines only feature people that they know, and it's like, well, when you're doing this like time and time again, like you can't. It's like hard to go outside of your circle to some degree. Like there's so much in and around you that I'm sure it is hard to get people that you're not aware of. Like, how are you supposed to find somebody if you're not aware of them?
Yeah, we look. I mean, we're on Instagram all the time, and the good thing is we go to all, again, Japan and bike shows, and Grant goes to all the swap meets back east and all that, and everywhere. And we're constantly talking to people, and people do hit us up. But it's not just like, hey, there's just a directory you go to, like guy building a cool bike, and you just pick his name and he wants to do it. And then the other side of the things, we've asked people before, and they've said no.
Yeah.
People think, oh man, why don't you have this guy? It's like, well, number one, we've had him before. And then number two, I asked him, and, for whatever reason, he didn't have the time, which we appreciate when people say they don't have the time or the means to do it instead of just saying yes, because usually the guys that just say yes real easy without thinking about it end up not, producing exactly, what was promised. So guys who take a little time to make sure they could do it, or have a customer, or, can afford the time away from the fam, or whatever it might be, like, we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
There's been guys, even like CT Newman, we asked him after the People's Champ, and he thought about it. He's like, man, I don't have the project, I don't have the money, I don't remember exactly what it was, or I don't have the customer. And then I think he might have even asked him again. He turned us down again. Well, you think, well, fuck that guy, I'm not going to ask him a third time. But it's like, that's not the way we think. Asked him again. He said, let me think about it. And I think he took 2 or 3 weeks, and he came back and said, I'm in. So it's like, we love that part of it. There's the give and take, and that shows people's dedication. Then if I just, called some cat up out of the blue and like, I'm in, and then he shows up with an unfinished bike, or halfway through the year gives up, which, we've had that happen. several times, and we don't fault those dudes. We understand how hard it is
Well, yeah, I mean,
to
it's got
build.
even if you think you don't have enough time, it's hard to say no to something like being an invited builder for Born Free. So, that it's got
It
to be
is
tough
hard.
on those guys.
It is hard for sure, and but I think too, a lot of guys now, especially who've done it, and we've had some of the best, realize, holy shit, like building a bike under a deadline with people watching and having to have the thing run and work and all that stuff is way harder than just putting together a killer bike that you don't have to worry about if it works, or engineer some stuff to make things work. You just kind of fabricating, bolting it together, and then just taking it around to shows.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of dudes that do that, and they do it to perfection, and have nothing, there's nothing wrong with that. But even though Instagram and the internet will tell you different, our guys, their bikes have to run. They have to run. We ask them, in the beginning, when this whole thing of how this works, what we require of them, some social posts, and we can help them if they can't do it themselves. And they have to produce, a highly finished running motorcycle. Now, do you have to ride the thing 100 miles? No. Does it need to start and be finished? Yes. And I think last year, out of, I don't even remember how many guys, we had 28 or 30. I think one bike wouldn't start. But you go on Instagram and everybody's telling you these guys are skateboarders and they're hipsters and their bikes don't work and blah blah blah, and that's really not the case. I mean, years past, sure, there's been bikes that didn't run, from the highest profile dudes you can imagine show up and they don't even have a chain on their bike, and it's certainly not what we want.
Yeah.
But what do? Tell this guy, hey, get out of here, like, beat it. We don't do that. We tell them, okay, hey, you're in the show, but when we do our builder meeting, we're like, hey, it's up to you guys, because the builders vote on who wins. It's up to you guys to decide, like, hey, you busted your ass for 6 months or 8 months or 9 months, got everything done, highly finished, running, startable motorcycle that you could fire up and let everybody hear it, which they do throughout the show weekend and at the race. Or, you didn't get it finished, you didn't get it done, whatever the circumstances. You guys need to decide on how to vote on that.
Yeah, because
We're not telling
the
you how to
builders
vote.
are the voters.
Builders are the voters for the builder contest. Yeah, so they can't vote for themselves, and they have to vote for 3 other guys, and then we tally up the votes, and that's how we get the winner. But if you feel strongly about a guy, not his bike not being done or not running or not having a throttle cable on there, then don't vote for him.
Yeah.
Or if you're like, I don't give a shit, I love his bike, I love his work, the bike's killer, he had some hardships, whatever, his motor blew up, then vote for him. But it's on you guys. So at the end of the day, when this is all over with and the winners are the winners, don't come back on us and be bummed out that some dude won whose bike didn't work. It rarely happens. I mean, I can't even recall, honestly, in the last 5 or 6 years, that a bike even got any consideration, that didn't run. I don't even think anybody got to 3rd or 4th place if their bike didn't run. But having said all that, it's gotten so much better that, like, everybody knows, like, I got to have a done, running, highly finished motorcycle. And again, last year, I think the one dude just couldn't get it started, but it had gas and oil in it, spark and wires and lights and everything. It just wouldn't fire off.
Yeah.
So
Shit happens.
the point to that whole long, drawn out, boring story is that we want the motorcycles to run. We want them to work. Again, guys build crazy shit for shows, and we're a show. So we want the wildest, craziest bikes that might not go 20 feet. But then we also want the guys to build what they want. So if they want to build a rider, if they want to build some, trike or, Honda or whatever they want, we don't tell them what to do. They can build whatever they want, however they see fit. And it's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Well,
speaking of running, riding motorcycle, let's talk about the racing, because that's where I'm at right now. When did you guys start doing the racing with Born Free? When did the Stampede start?
I want to say about 4 years ago. We were following all the stuff for sure and participating in a lot of it with, like, Hell on Wheels and I, Roland Sands. We raced at some of his races. Shit, I crashed at his beach race. I crashed my JD and flipped over.
Let's start there first. When did you start racing? When did you go from flipping Triumphs to racing the circle track?
I was probably always, I don't know if everybody knows Meatball Hell on Wheels, but he's the awesomest guy out here. He's been doing these low key, family friendly, fun party races for years, way before this new resurgence of flat track and hooligan and all this shit. Not for the Midwest flat tracker dudes have been doing this forever. I get all that. I'm just saying out here, like guys racing this stuff, in that setting really wasn't going on. And he started doing that. I mean, I gotta believe it was 10, 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, and you go out to one of his races and there'd be dudes on, Triumphs and vintage Hondas and stuff like that. It's a small group, girls, kids. So him and I became friends through the Triumph world. He would help me fix bikes. And, he asked me, hey, come out to one of the races. So I brought a Triumph out there and, had some fun and did 2 or 3 of those. And I wasn't trying to be competitive. It was just mainly to ride. I'd go out there and ride practice and get so tired I couldn't even race. Like my arms would be so pumped I couldn't even ride.
It's so demanding riding on the dirt, isn't it?
Oh, especially when you've never done it. Like it'll kick your ass.
Yeah.
As easy as it sounds, when you're on a real dirt bike, 230-pound dirt bike, it's a little different story than when you're on a 400 or 500-pound Harley or a heavier kind of a street bike. Those things will wipe you out. But and that's what I was into. I wasn't really into the idea of getting a dirt bike and being competitive. It's more like what chopper or street bike or whatever that I could strip it down and bring it out here and be more of a spectacle because I'm not fast, than to try to get into some fast class and get smoked. And we started doing that, and more friends got involved. And then as this other stuff blew up, is when we all started to really think, oh man, let's get Harleys, let's do 45s, let's do the tank shift stuff, let's start a class. And I got a 45 and turned it into a dirt bike, and then Grant and Jimmy White and Jeff Layton and all the guys we race with, which we encourage anybody that wants to. In fact, I've let multiple people ride my bikes. I don't give a shit. As many dudes as we can get. I mean, I think we've had 12 or 13, maybe 14 one time at one of the races, which is a lot. And then again, I know in the Midwest and back east that would be a week class, but out here, there's not a lot of guys doing it or are willing to do it. It's expensive too. It's hard to have a $10,000 dirt bike.
Yeah.
That you don't ride on the street. And I think that's really what's kind of hurt us really trying to blow it up and grow it is that, a lot of guys might have one bike and it's got to be their everything. And, they don't want to get it out there and flip it upside down and break it and get it dirty and all that shit. So we don't have a massive class, but we usually get, anywhere between 4 to 10 guys, I'd say, come out each time. Doesn't matter if we're doing a hill climb or a flat track or a TT or even some of the motocross stuff.
When did you go from the Triumphs to the Harleys? I mean,
So I still love the Triumphs. I got a bunch. I love riding and racing those things. They're a blast. But I think the first 45 I put together with help certainly was I want to say about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Just a little stock, which by the way, I had the most fun on by far. If I had a chance to go back in time, I would never build a fast bike. I had more fun wringing that thing's neck and riding it as fast as I could than getting on one of these fucking monsters.
Was that your first Harley?
No, that was my first Harley. Okay. That can jump back to those Triumph days. I started again. My buddy John, who's like an influence guy, guy influenced me. Once he got to Triumph, he bought a Panhead, and it was a real famous, bike he built. This chopper. We ended up trading. I got it, and that kind of set that whole Harley thing in motion. Gotcha. And it's been going ever since. To jump back to that, but I love Harley stuff, and I've even tried an Indy, and it's not for me, but Triumphs and Harleys is what I really like.
So tell me about the first 45 bike, the race bike.
Yeah, so that 45, I bought it from Craig Taylor out here, Big Craig, who runs the AMCA swap meet. It was kind of a project, but I kind of think it was like one that you could just put together. I don't really remember, but I got it, through the WR repop tanks and the WR type fender, and slimmed it down and put the dirt track, or knobbies on it, took the brakes off and all that shit, and started going out. And I was, racing with like Go at the time. He was riding a rigid Panhead, like chopper.
Wow.
So, and then, like I said, Grant got involved.
Was he laying that thing down like he does his race bike now?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That dude is insane.
Oh, he's the best, dude. He's more dedicated than anybody that I know. And I mean, I can't say enough good things about Go, but this was the earlier days. So we had, Denver Dan came out with his Panhead, and, Jeremiah from Love Cycles came out with a knucklehead, and, guys were showing up, with the JD and a street bike and this and that, and just basically yanking the lights off and running around on the track. And it was so much fun. It was not competitive. It was just like just having the greatest time. And then, you get that idea in your head is like, oh, I want to go faster.
Yeah.
I got to go faster. And there's every excuse that comes up. We've all made them. Oh, my starts suck, and I can't keep my speed through the turn. And that guy's motor is so much faster.
It's the competitive edge that gets you, man. I mean,
Oh,
you race for fun, but man, winning is a lot of fun, and that's what makes racing fun. Is the chance that you might win.
It is, and I mean, I'll downplay it. It is, but yeah, of course, winning, you want to win. I mean, I beat Go a few times over the years, and when I have, it's been great. Like, oh man, I beat this master or whatever. But and everybody else has as well in certain races. Grant's won, Jimmy's won, all these guys have won. But yeah, you want to go faster, and then it's like, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. So I had my slow bike, which I loved, and again, I should have never got rid of that thing. Hit up Silvio at Cycle Mo's. I'm like, dude, I want the beast. I want the fast one. Like, I don't give a shit. I want it fast. Make it as fast as you can. And he built me a motor, got the WR transmission, did all the tricks, built this killer bike that was just crazy fast. And I mean, there are certainly fast ones out there he had done for other guys, but there wasn't as many in our world at the time, before those guys taught themselves how to build motors and shit like that. It was like the fast bike. And to be honest, it was just too fast, and it still is too fast unless you're just in a flat out drag race or you're climbing hills. Like, that thing has been fantastic at the hill climb. I've let guys, Danny from the East Coast ride it, and he won this year, and other guys have ridden it. But on the flat track, it's like, it's hard to learn how to wrangle that power.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's like on a Sportster hooligan racing, like, it's getting the power to the ground is the hardest part, Like, you can overbuild a motor quick, and then you just can't get the power to the ground.
It's exactly that. And then just like the hooligan bikes with the Sportsters, the thing is still heavy. It's fucking heavy, and it wants to go where it wants to go. And the whole, is sliding the things and trying to use your brake and all the little tricks that the hooligan guys do and some of the flat track guys do. Like, it's a little more difficult on a 45, or on a street bike. And you got to learn, and you get strong doing it, and you start to build up, those muscles you need in your arms and stuff to handle these things. And, but it's a blast, dude. I mean, we love people to come to our race, our races, or Meatballs races, or Roland's races. Whoever's having one, we support them all. We try to go to them all and race them if we can. If not, I'll support them or just loan somebody a motorcycle. I've let Brittany Olson ride my 45 at Roland's race one year. Andy from Pangea rode it at one of our Stampede Scramble. I mean, like, we're pretty, well, at least I am, like, generous in that way. Like, I got race bikes, and anybody can ride them. You come out here, meaning you, and you need a bike to ride, you ride any of my bikes.
Dude, don't fucking tempt me, man.
It's not a tempting, it's an invitation. I'm not tempting you. You're more than welcome to. And if you come out in, for the race in September, take your pick.
Okay, I'm there. You fucking just sealed the deal.
Yeah,
have you
might even have a hooligan bike for you if you're interested in that, but I would recommend a vintage.
No, I've
vintage
done
bike.
the hooligan. I've been wanting to do a tank shifter so bad. I just haven't been able to swing that, the $10,000 dirt bike yet,
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's tough, but I'll say, man, if you can figure it out and figure out how to do it or build it on the cheap or have your buddies help you or whatever, I mean, it's so much fun, dude.
Yeah, it's
and people who are watching you are like, they don't care. First of all, you don't really know who's in first or in last half the time. You know what I mean? Like, It's not about that. Like, and I know the hooligan stuff has gotten pretty serious, and there's some beefs going around and all that. And
it's awesome.
And I follow all that stuff, and I like all those dudes, and I know who they are, and I know why they do it. With us, it's like, other than, guys want to say their motors are faster or whatever, doing the bench racing, like, it doesn't matter who wins. And it's just, we just want to get out there.
Well, I do have a beef to pick with you because you pulled the chopper class from racing last year.
At which one? The Stampede?
At the Stampede, yeah.
Yeah, we did. I think it was just a run. We had to lump everybody together of either, I can't remember if it was a Stampede or at Del Mar, but anyway, it's literally the lack of participation. Like, we had 17 classes, which people are like, what? to try to get everybody who wants to race in there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we have to condense the classes down and score them separately. So let's just say like there's, 3 girls on vintage bikes and 3 girls on hooligan bikes. They're all in the same class, let's say, or in the same heat, but we're scoring them different.
Gotcha.
We've done that, and it's in that case, those things have become problematic because you got people going way too fast and they can't stop. So we've learned like, hey, okay. In fact, a friend of ours got hurt, not bad, but she got mangled pretty good at one of our races because one of the hooligan chicks, was inexperienced, going way too fast, couldn't handle the turn, and basically just ran her over. So as we do this stuff, we talk to people, we see what's going on, we learn, and we try to make it better. And we would love nothing more to have a chopper class in every race, but it just seems like fewer and fewer guys want to do it.
Yeah,
or are into
scared.
it. And I don't know why.
They're scared.
But dude, I mean, and again, you can race at your own speed. No one's out there telling you got to be, the best of the best. You can just, seeing a guy on a chopper going around a dirt, to me, in my opinion, that's enough.
Yeah.
Like, I'm cheering for that dude. I'm cheering for him no matter what.
I got to race it a couple times last year.
I know. Yeah. And, and we love dudes coming from other areas to come out and get a race. And we try to put out the very best track we can. Rider safety is super important to us, and also listening to people on, what they think. Like, we started doing it back when we had the Sportsman Cup last fall, is that why in every race do they run the heavy bikes last? It's like, well, it's the draw, or people want to see the hooligans or the tank shifter guys at the end of the night. It's like, well, that's when the track is the most fucked up. So we flipped it after talking to some guys, and we made the first races of every heat, and then in the main, in the semis and mains and all that stuff, where the heavy bikes went first. So they got the track the best they could, or get it the best it could be right in the beginning when, it's all moist and killer and the dirt's brown, everything looks great, instead of after 20 different classes went on it and fucked it all up, and then we're trying to fix it. So like, we try everything to make this whole thing make sense, make people stoked on it. We've given out some crazy trophies, prize money, free tees and number plates and pendants and swag and all that stuff to keep it fun and to keep people happy about, being out there with each other. And it's worked so far. Like, we never get the beef, the fights, the arguments. Everybody's willing to help each other. Guy's bike doesn't start, he's helping out. Guy needs to borrow a tire. Like, it's super, friendly and fun. And that's the way we want it. If you want to do the other, there's plenty of other races to do that at. And I totally don't have a problem with guys, getting mad at each other and fighting it out and all that shit.
Oh,
but
dude,
that's
fights on the track are just insane.
It's not what we want. It's not what we want. I've seen it, and at the beginning, you're like, yeah, do it, handle it, and then at the end of the day, it's like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Oh yeah.
You're ruining.
Well, when it comes to racers, you can't make all the racers happy, man. That people take it so fucking serious. Like, putting on a race is not an easy task, and you're never going to be everybody's favorite at the end. There's just no way.
No, absolutely. And anybody that's putting on races, and there's a lot of people that are doing it, you don't make money. I mean, there might be one or two out there at some of the other shows that might do well. I will tell you right now, you lose money. So if you want to do it for the love of it, to hang out with your buddies, talk to everybody, meet the racers, have a good time, check out the bikes, it's great. If you think you're going to make money, fucking do not do it.
Yeah.
Because we've never had a race wherever that we've made money. We always lose money. In fact, we did the Del Mar thing, and which was amazing. Like, we got to race Del Mar short track. That's a pretty prestigious thing, and we paid dearly to be there. And we lost money. And again, I'm not saying that for people to go, oh, boo-hoo, born free. It's just like, we didn't care. We wanted to do it. We wanted all our friends to be there. We wanted to have a good crowd. We wanted the people to get stoked. And we're trying to build on something out here in SoCal that is so popular in your neck of the woods and back east, where, like, you go to a flat track race.
It's hardly popular here.
Well, you're in Texas. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking you're in Milwaukee for some reason.
No.
But, back in the Midwest, they have a flat track race at a county fair or Elkhorn or one of these spots. And 10 or not 10, but 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people show up.
Yeah.
And watch it. And they're cheering. They're excited. You have a race here and there's 2 people in the stands, or you've got to do some crazy shit to get them to come. Give away a bike, have a bunch of bands, create this whole experience around it. there's so much shit going on, and with the traffic and, you know, everything else that you can imagine in Southern California, it's like getting people to come and watch is tough. And people don't realize if you don't have people watching, you can't pay for the race.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need those people in the stands to pay for the insurance and the track and the, you know, the team and the experience and the security and all shit. It's like races are not cheap. Insurance alone will choke most people.
Yeah.
You know, with the Del Mar thing, and we had to pay like, it was like $5,000 for insurance for one day because Del Mar required such a big policy.
Oh, wow.
And again, I'm not saying that so people, you know, want to care what we're doing, but I'm just letting you know, like, we did that because we wanted to put on a race at Del Mar and have all of our buddies, because we don't race our own races, get on some of the best dirt in the world.
Well, I seen you made a post recently about there's like you got a new track idea for this Stampede race for Born Free.
Yeah, so we're gonna have it at City Industry at the Industry Expo Center, which we've done races there before.
That was where it was last year, right?
Yeah, it's where the X Games. I think we've done 4. I think we've done 4 there, and our race team over there, Kelly Inman, who runs the racing portion of our event. So when you know, you go sign up, you know, at the track, it's Kelly's people. You know, Pit Stewart and track maintenance and him and all that stuff is all them. We don't handle that ourselves because we can't do it good. You know, we're getting the best that we can get, and Kelly's amazing. His people are next level, and all the races go off without a hitch. I mean, we had 140 riders, something like 80, 90, 100 heats at Del Mar, and we were way in front of schedule. I mean, we were running grudge matches. Like, anybody that was there, and these are people that were there, not the people that are talking shit on the internet, is if you wanted to race your buddy, like, hey, I want to race that guy, just me and him. We let him do it.
You would let just 2 guys go out there and grudge it out?
We had grudge matches. We had the dude, and I can't think of his name, but he's a friend with Ari down in Oceanside or whatever, built this mini bike pull start with like a 450cc 2-stroke snowmobile motor. The thing was, I mean, I honestly, I can't think of anything that scared me more than watching that guy ride that thing. I mean, I was excited and pumped that he did it and he built it for us, our race, and super, you know, awesome he did that. But like, that thing just looked like it would kill you. And we had him race Brandon, one of the Team Noise guys, like on a hooligan bike. And we're like, let's put the fastest mini bike against one of the hooligan dudes. And dude, it was a killer race. I mean, I think Brandon pulled it out in the last, 20 feet and got him at the line. But we did that. We did buddies that came down from like Northern Cal. They're like, these are my 4 guys. We let them race. We had like 2 of our guys that are, in the slower categories, but look great. Jed on the flat or the tank shift. And I think it was Damon on it was like some Eddie Mulder or some famous race bike. We had those 2 guys who's on a Triumph. Those 2 guys race for fun. And I mean, just shit like that, kids, girls, whatever. Like, if somebody has a good idea or we think it'd be cool, we want to do it.
Yeah.
So, we had Mark Rusty Butcher race against Go on his Indian.
No shit.
Yeah. Yep. Go beat him. And I'm not talking shit on Mark, but Mark showed up like literally 30 seconds before the race, unloaded his bike, did not get any practice, never went out on the track, just was a sport, got out on there and raced Go, but Go did beat him, dude. I mean, Go could be elite level hooligan racer without even question, but he doesn't want to do it. It's just he says too danger. That's what he says.
Yeah, I mean, he could beat most hooligan racers on his tank shift bike.
And he has, when he shows up to Harley Night or some of the like Paris out there, some of the little short track where they don't have enough guys. He'll go out there, dude, and he'll run with the hooligan guys. Half the time he doesn't put it to him, I think, out of like respect, but he could.
Yeah,
he has, and I've watched him do it, and I know what that guy's capable of. And if he jumped on a new Indian or a Harley, he would be smoking dudes.
No shit.
But he doesn't want to, and I really respect that about him. He's like, dude, in his own language, I don't want to get hurt. I'm having fun. You got, our group and guys are great, probably because he beats up on us so easily. But but the guy's a sportsman, and I love him to death. And he's a blast, and he's helped push, what we love in the tank shift stuff and the vintage stuff to another level.
Awesome.
You got to have somebody that's really good you know, you got to, and he's that guy.
Yeah, he is. So the racing industry this year, there's going to be a TT style track.
Yeah, God, I don't know why I keep jumping around. Yeah, you're right. So back to the TT. Yeah,
No,
we're going to
you're
create something
good.
fun. Kelly, our guy, we're going to go out there and look at it. We want to create, we mentioned a figure eight track, but I don't think, unless we've got an elevation change, like a bridge, I don't think we can do it because I think we would have too many people getting hurt. But we are looking at like creating like a big giant turn, like a wall, essentially, like, 8, 9 feet high. That's like a big giant banked
Come
turn,
on.
that would give a look to the track. Besides the little bumps and jumps and stuff, it makes it different, and all the the off camber turns and stuff. Just something that you go into and you got this big wide turn where maybe 3, 4, 5 guys could all be at the turn in the same time. Basically, just build up a big wall and just visually make the track look fun. When we did the TT before, it was hay bales out there and jumps and different turns and flags, and it looked killer. It was like this little chase race instead of just the typical flat track where it's like, okay, I got the whole shot. The tracks are small. Everybody's running the same line. Very
Yeah.
little chance to pass unless somebody makes a real big mistake. This is like anything goes. In fact, when we did the TT last time, Andy, Pangea Andy, I let him run my 45 and he beat Go.
No shit.
And we did give Go a little handicap, made him start a little further behind, but he couldn't catch Andy and he couldn't beat him. And it was because the track was really challenging, and with all the turns and bumps and jumps and stuff, like it wasn't that easy, and it made all the flat track only dudes think a little bit about how to run it, and it just made it more fun, more challenging, and it's way more visually entertaining for people who are watching.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like the track last year at Industry, it's so small. Like, you're right. Whoever got the whole shot, pretty much, as long as they kept their line. No, like my buddy, he won his heat, got to go to the X Games, and he was the slowest guy out there, but nobody could fucking pass him. Bless his heart, Carlos Sanchez.
No, oh yeah, no, I know that. Yeah, for sure. I get it. You only have so much to work with at the track, and a lot of times the smaller tracks, guys they're not going as fast, and maybe people feel like they don't get hurt as much if the track's smaller and they're slowing the speeds down. But with us too, it's like, hey, we want the track to be safe. We don't want to cram too many riders out there at one time. And that was the idea with this TT. Like, let's spread the track out as the best we can. Let's take the whole arena up. Let's create this really cool slalomy fun course in the space we have, so you can get some distance between the riders, and then we'll run less guys. I think last year we ran 5 at a time, which, you see a hooligan race, there's 15. I've even seen 17, 18 dudes on the smallest track you'll ever see. And you got 18 guys out there.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
We've done it, not that many, but thank God, knock on something, we haven't had anybody really get injured or crashes. But I'd rather see this style of racing for us. Not all the time, but it mixes it up, and I think gives people something to look forward to. And you don't have to be that fast, flat track dude to get out there and have a blast and compete and win. And it's proven from last year.
Well, so you got in an accident a couple years ago, right?
I did. Luckily, I haven't been hurt. I've fallen a few times.
Oh, I thought you had broke your leg or something.
No, that was Grant.
Oh,
that was
Grant broke his leg. Okay.
Yeah. He broke his leg out at one of Rusty Butcher's events. His top clamp, or his trees, or not his trees, but his risers, one came off, and the bars went the other way. And of course, I think today he would know what to do, and he's a lot more of a skilled rider now. But at the time, he just essentially went into the wall. It wasn't his fault, but ended up breaking his leg pretty bad. And then it's so ironic. It's like our buddy Jimmy White, who races too, and he's a badass, and Grant built his motor, and he's been very, very competitive. He broke his ankle at one of our races, which is a bummer. And then our buddy Jeff Moon, went out to a swap meet with Grant and ended up at Silvio's and broke his leg. So it was like 3 very close friends in a very short period of time all broke a bone and were out for significant time. I mean, a couple of those guys broke more than one bone, and but I, knock on wood, have been lucky not to be hurt, even though I've had some pretty good crashes. And I crashed at Roland Sands Beach Race the first year he had it, and jumped over a buddy of ours and flipped over and landed on my head and shoulder and on top of the bike.
Was
and
that the
everything
clip
else.
I saw this morning?
But,
Did you just post that?
no, I don't think so. I don't think I did.
Okay, I saw something. I thought you posted.
Maybe. No, I don't think I did, but it's out there. It's been out there before. It was pretty hilarious. I mean, I'm on a, well-known JDH that Homer Knapp had that, and I'm jumping over a down rider and then flipping it upside down. Probably not the look, it should have. It's an expensive bike, but I like to ride my bikes and have fun. And if I crash, I crash.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what I like to do is ride my shit.
And I've jumped that thing and broke the motor out of it. Essentially, I blew it up at a sand race, not trog, out in the middle of the desert. We went on this Roy Rogers ranch one time and did this big race. It was full of sand. Ended up seizing the motor and all kind of shit. But I like riding them, and that's what they're for. I don't care.
Have you done any of the trog races?
I did the Pismo Beach one, and I had the JD out there. It's right when I got it, and took it out there and had the best time ever. That was the Pismo one when they had all the weather and they had to cancel it one day, and I get all that. It's a fucking nightmare for those dudes, and I feel for them. But thank God, if you were down on the beach, you had a bike that was running, like, you got to go. And I think I raced like 6 or 7 times.
Nice.
I mean, I raced Shin from Japan on his crazy bike, and raced Buddies and Caballero, and I raced Grant and Brian and Nick and all those dudes from the East Coast. It was a blast, dude. It was the most fun. I mean, I had in a long, long time. I haven't been able to go back east, and I wanted to, but just it's hard for me to take that kind of time off with the family.
Yeah.
But one of these days I'll get there.
What about the hill climbs? You like doing the hill climbs?
I do. So that was something that I got involved in with Meatball at Hell on Wheels. Like I tried to help him get that going, and I've given away, a little Honda out there one time, did some prizes, tried to create the Harley class or more street style class, help get the hooligan guys out there. And I've had some success out there. And again, like I said, I've let other people ride my bike, but it's probably the funnest event that we do, I would say, just because, climbing a hill is kind of a throwback to what they did. But I know people are still doing it, but not as much. And you see all these bikes, and it's just smiles, and you're not, you are racing another guy, or you might be racing for time, but it's not that hand-to-hand combat of the flat track shit. So yeah. I don't know. People are in a much better mood. I mean, there's a lot more drinking going on for sure, and just having a good time, and it's fun. It's just like, I mean, I let you've probably seen the video of the kid jumping my panhead off the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Who's no longer a kid, Joey Caravan, is a good friend, and I've known his dad forever. They begged me one year. I had my panhead out there because that's how it kind of started. I took my panhead out and climbed the hill on my panhead, which is a street bike, and there were just maybe a handful of Harleys at the time, but I think that kind of got some people interested, and then did a Harley commercial climbing the same hill on my panhead and all that. And again, I don't want to say I started it, but that was kind of like when we all got involved. And I let this kid who was like, let me do it. Please, please, please. I'm like, all right, Joey, do it full throttle till you get to the top, then let off. These guys are doing this half throttle shit or trying to shift. None of them are making it. Okay, I can do it. His dad's like, let him do it. If anything happens, I'll take care of it. Fuck, guy gets on the bike, full throttle, never let off, launches it off the top of the hill, which you've seen in the video, and it doesn't look that impressive, but literally the bike, he jumped it about 20 feet.
Holy
then
shit.
What you don't see is it went down the other side of the hill on its own. He flew off the back. Well,
oh no!
Blew out my transmission. I mean, blew out the kicker cover. Just blew it out. Dented my tank. This is an original bike, by the way. This isn't like some fucking slapped together, eBay panhead. Dented my tanks. Bent my springer. Flattened both wheels. Bent my handlebars. Bent my riser. Like I can't even. I mean, basically everything you can. I had to take the whole bike apart. Had to get my perfect original frame that never had. It was never apart. Every tab, every whatever, straightened. Same with the Springer. Had to get new wheel. Like it took a year. It was I don't even know how $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 expense. Joe took care of it, but it was my baby. That's my bike. That's the one I've had the longest, and it was down for a year. But that kind of made things kind of people take notice of the hill climb and thought, this is cool. This is rad. These dudes are out here. And then we had guys on these VW trikes and just kids building, extended swing arm, bikes just to hill climb. And then, all the girls and the kids and everybody started coming out and people were building crazy shit. I can't remember what there was last year. There was some wacky ass fucking thing like 3 guys were on. I don't think they made it up the hill, but it was pretty impressive to see. They had a film crew and stuff. So it's just a ton of fun. And if you're out here in October, I don't know when it is exactly this year, it's around Halloween time, you got to come out and check it out.
Yeah.
And you can follow Meatball at Hell on Wheels on Instagram. Get involved. He's a super easy guy to work with. There's no rules. Anything goes. Show up, race whatever you bring. There's a class for you, and it's a blast.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I did a couple hill climbs last year, and they were a ton of fun. Holy shit, they were. I even climbed my chopper up a hill in Sturgis.
Oh, I mean, I've seen some of those footages and guys in New York and all. I mean, it looks so much fun. The Sturgis stuff. It looks just. I mean, I'd love to get out to one of those things and just on one of the old bikes.
Do you go to any other big events across the country?
Yeah, I mean, we've been to Mama Tried several times, and we even sponsored them in the earlier days. I mean, obviously Grant and them go to Trog every year. Never been to the one show. Like to go. I heard it's cool. Grant's been to Congregation. Obviously, we go to Moon Eyes, or we have in the past, and Grant and those guys continue to go, and I go when I can. But yeah, we try to support all the events, get involved with them. Certainly, all the Rolling Sands races, all the Hell on Wheels, which I just mentioned. And anybody else that's trying to throw something together, I mean, we try to support them the best we can. I mean, our whole thing, and I think people still have a hard time realizing it, is like doing events. Number one is it's a special breed. It sucks. I mean, it's not easy to do. So if you do it and you have any level of success, we understand and we want to support those guys. And the better all events do, the better we do.
Yeah.
And it's all like, that's the way it works. Like if all these events do great, we want them to, we're going to do good. So if we're all working together and promote the same thing, fun, build bikes, have a good time, party if that's your thing, whatever, race, like it's good for the industry. It's good for the sport. It's good for everything.
Yeah.
So we do our best. Oh, Chopper Fest out here. Tori's an awesome dude. And we support his event and he supports ours and all the shows that you can imagine. We really try our hardest. We don't know of everything. And sometimes people are like, oh, you don't support my event or you put your date on ours. It's like, oh, dude, I didn't know, Reno chopper meet was going on the same day. Like, I apologize. And we don't know, but we do our best, I will say, to try to make sure we're not stepping on anybody's dates or events or try to include them.
Yeah.
In something that we're doing. And that's the other thing too, is if you want to get involved with Born Free or you want to get involved with the racing, all you got to do is hit us up. Phone call, DM, you want to race, you want to vend, you want to sponsor, you want to show off something. I mean, we're pretty easy going and we want people to be involved. The more people that are involved doing their thing at our show, the better it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why we let everybody have these little shows within a show, whether it's San Diego Customs or Rusty Butcher or Biltwell or Arlen S or, just some random dude that wants to have a fucking hot dog eating contest. Like all of that stuff adds to the show, adds value to the show and makes it more fun. And those are things that we don't have to do. Now, certainly we want to trust the guy and make sure they follow through with what they promise and all that stuff. So we look at it a little bit, but it's not that hard. And, hey, if you want to come and do a fucking podcast at the show, we'll make it happen.
I already did it.
Okay, well, there you go.
I mean, our internet's spotty,
but
did it.
We'll make shit like that happen for people, and that's the message too that I want to get out there. And one of the reasons why I'm doing it, besides I want to support you, is that don't read all the shit that you see on fucking Instagram or Facebook or these dudes that just are grumpy at the world. Like, come to the show for yourself, experience it, check it out, and then if you don't like it, then speak your mind or just don't come.
Yeah, no, I went last year for my first time. Actually, I'd taken off to go there maybe the past 2 years. Broke down one time and then just got distracted completely one other time. But last year I made it. And it was awesome. That place is fucking huge. It's beautiful. It was amazing how many people were there, but it never really felt like crowded or over, I didn't never feel like I don't know. I just didn't feel like I was cramped in any way. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried to spread out the areas and try to create like kind of an openness. I mean, it's hard to do when you got to cram 3,000 bikes and 200 vendors and, the wall of death and the van skate ramp and all the things that we talk about, like to get it to fit. It's tough, but I will say that's one of Grant's duties is that he's really good at the map and the space planning and really takes a hard look on how that stuff lays out and to try to create a flow. Like you said, so when you come in, you don't feel like, holy shit, I just hit a wall of people or a wall of bikes or a wall of vendors. We try to put all that stuff on the perimeter, have all the bikes on the inside with a lot of open lanes, and people will go, man, I didn't get a vendor booth. You said you were sold out, and look at this area right here is open. Like, that's bullshit. It's like, dude, we're leaving that open so people could lay on the grass and sit by the pond and fish and feel like they're not, at a bike show in a parking lot.
Yeah.
We have to like talk them off the list. Oh, okay, I get it. I thought you guys just didn't like what I was doing. It's like, no, man, like we don't want to show just of vendors. I mean,
you should just tell them you don't like what they're doing instead of explaining it to them.
And the thing
is, we don't even like you.
It's just not our way, man. It's like we're just trying to get along the best we can with everybody, and no matter what you do, you can't get along with everybody. We get that, but
no, I mean, putting like on an event is insane, dude. I toyed with the idea and did one a couple years ago. And just the first year was so out of control. I was just like, there's no way that I'm doing this again. Like, I had to, it was just insane. I couldn't imagine doing it. I mean, you've been doing it for 12 years. I'm really interested to see, like, how the fucking COVID affects the turnout to all the events this year, It's going to be really interesting. What's your take on that?
It is, and that's one of the reasons. Obviously, we had to move the date, and we weren't stalling to move the date. It's just we were waiting for what the governor has to say, which or whatever, and then what the county has to say, because each county is kind of different. If we were in LA County, I would tell you, we would be very nervous right now for sure.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're in Orange County, and the fact that we're in that little town of Silverado, and the fact that we're on private property, those three things are critical and crucial to us having this event at the end of September. If we were in downtown LA or something like that, I feel like we would probably have a big problem, even though I do believe in the next few weeks and in the coming month, things are really going to loosen up and shake out. And, this thing, I'm not saying it's going to go away, but it's going to either become so normal we're used to it and we know how to handle it, or it's going to just kind of not be in people's thought, 24 hours a day, and things are going to get back to somewhat normal. I mean, that's what I believe. 5 months from now is when we have our show. I would hope that everything, for the most part, except maybe some safety stuff, food and all that shit, is back to normal. Like, if we're still wearing masks and shit in public 5 months from now, I'm going to, first of all, be super surprised, but then I'll also be scared. I'll tell you, I'll be scared at that point. I'm not scared now, but if we're doing this 5 months from now, I'm going to be scared.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'll be scared. I actually won't be surprised. I mean, people in China and Japan, they've been wearing masks for years. Like, it's just kind of their protocol.
The thing that's different though is that those people are sick, and it's more of a respect thing. So it's like, hey, I'm letting you know.
Oh, so the people that are wearing the mask are sick.
Yeah, I mean that's what I've understand. We've been there, and we asked them 10 years ago, like, why are you wearing that mask? Oh, I have a little cold. They're so respectful and nice. I mean, that's the original thought behind that. Now it may have evolved and changed.
Oh shit! I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I feel like the only reason I stayed at home and did any kind of quarantine was out of respect for some of the other people in my life that I see.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm doing the same thing. I have 4 kids. Everybody's at home. We've been here now a month and a half, and it's like, look, if I was a single dude, or I just had a girlfriend, or just married like Grant, just no kids, just a wife, I probably would do. In fact, he's basically doing what he does every day. I mean, we're not around a ton of people daily anyway. You can only do what you can do with restaurants and stuff being closed, or you're eating takeout. But a lot of people are just living their life as normal as they can. They're not, hanging around an old folks home or going to see their 100-year-old grandma, but they're also not living in complete fear or watching the news 24 hours a day to scare you to death. They're kind of just going about their business. I, unfortunately, in a little different spot because, what if keeps hitting me, and I got the kids, so it's like I got to be a little more cautious. So I'm not out and about as much. I mean, I do what I need to do, but until we get some real news or a handle on this thing, or they kind of turn us loose, I'll probably be doing somewhat of the same, although I have been a little looser in the last few weeks for sure.
Yeah.
The wife goes to the store. I mean, I've gone to the bank, dropped off a bike and did this stuff, but I mean, I'm not out hanging out, riding motorcycles, doing all that shit that other people are doing.
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much lifted our quarantine when they said that like the peak time was here in Texas, like when they were afraid that the hospitals were going to get overloaded. Pretty much at this point now, I'm like out licking door handles, like let's go ahead and find out how bad this thing is, if it is anything.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's certainly something. What it is, I have no idea.
It's not going anywhere. I mean, there's like, I did hear at one point that they were going to let any big gatherings happen until there was a vaccine, and I was just like, well, that's just fucking bonkers.
It is, and we've heard those talks, and it certainly this spawned the whole like, hey, let's move the date. Besides just that, we felt that we weren't going to be able to produce the show and give people what they expect with all the things that we do. Not being able to be out and about until, let's just say, it's the end of May. There's just not enough time to do it all. So we didn't want to have some half-assed show, and then out of respect for our builders and everything else that are under a lot of stress and challenges, just not being normal, not being able to go to their shop normally, or their painter or chromer, polisher, whatever engine builder isn't thinking like build bikes. There's still this thing in the back of your head like, am I going to die? Is this thing real? Like, am I going to get it? I got to protect myself. So it's just a bunch of stress that people didn't really need, and it wouldn't have been right to have the show. So we pushed it out.
I bet it was hard to do too. I mean, I bet it was hard to even to say that, or to change it, to let something like that affect you. I mean, I'm sure, like you just don't want to think that some invisible bug can change what you've been doing for 11 years now.
I would have never thought this could ever happen, number one, probably like a lot of people. Yeah. And then exactly what you said, like, doing an event, okay, you have some insurance scenario or a fight or something that happens, and thank God we've never had any of that stuff. But let's just say you do that causes you to like have pause, or like, oh man, we couldn't have the show this year, or like Trog did when they had the Hurricane Sandy or whatever it was at that one year. Like, that's devastating, and like, but you can work around and change the date or whatever. But when you have what's going on right now, which is never happened before, essentially.
There's nothing to compare it to. There's nothing to look at for pointers or anything.
Yeah, you're talking about something that's basically stopped the world, to a point where it's like you can't be around people, you can't go here, you can't do that, you can't buy this, you can't do anything. So it's scary to think, like, wow, maybe I can't have my event, and it's an event, and it's passionate for both of us for sure, but it is still an event, and it's a business, and it's part of our job, and it's how we survive. I mean, we're not getting rich off of it. Like we've said, if we were, we wouldn't be going to Long Beach swap meet every month and all these, sitting out there and meeting people and shaking hands and hearing shit and all that stuff. We'd be sitting back, just throwing a date out there and see you at the show and, collecting the dough. It's not like that. It's a lot of work, but if we don't have the show, I mean, we're kind of fucked. I mean, beyond anything that we have to do to satisfy the people who are coming who bought admission or giveaways or anything like that, which is a big deal. And we want to make sure we do the right thing, is that we've got sponsors and folks to answer to. We've got money, a lot of money that was spent. That's no way to get it back.
Yeah.
If the event doesn't happen this year, which I believe it will, and we're going to do every single thing we can to make it happen. I mean, we're going to be in a little bit of trouble. I mean, we got to figure some serious things out. And like you said, I just never thought that would be possible.
Yeah. If somebody would have told me last year that I was going to cancel my motorcycle trips because of some invisible bug, I would have been like, you're fucking high as shit. It's not happening.
Yeah.
And here I am.
If you think about everything, and I go through these daily of what I believe and what's real and what's not.
Yeah, I mean, as a Bigfoot believer, I can only imagine the conspiracies you've dug off into with this whole COVID situation.
Oh man, I wish it was as easy as Bigfoot. Yeah, no, but dude, I mean, the problem is that I have on my Instagram thing, and some dude called me out on it the other day, and I ended up taking this post down because it wasn't the message I was trying to send. It wasn't the argument I was trying to make. I don't like arguing with people on the internet. There's no way to win. There's no way to get your point across. I don't give a shit if you make the most sense and you're telling exactly what happened in a scenario, you're going to get a bunch of fucking guys on there that just want to argue it. So no politics. I have on there, no religion, no hate, just
yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
posting fun stuff, right? So I don't want to come up with all my theories and spread it around because, you never know. But I will say, just not being political, is that the fucking media, and you could take it which way you want, what media you watch, I don't care what it is. What they do is they're a business, and they're a show, and they strategize, and they put together everything they can to make you watch, to make you keep watching. And the way they do that is with fear. And everybody knows this. I'm not some fucking genius, but it's the reality. So if you watch this news 24 hours a day, well informed or not, what they put out there is the worst. It's the worst in people. It's the worst in this country. It's the worst everywhere. So watching all that shit, like, how could you ever make sense of what's really going on?
Can't.
You got one side telling you, let's go back to work. Everything's fine. Herd mentality. We're going to get through it. You're going to get it and get it. You're going to die. You're going to die. Let's get back to business, which I agree to a point. Then there's another side saying, hey, it's this thing. We can't control it. We don't know how it works. It's morphing off. It's causing problems here and there and change in direction. And you can have it, not know it, and give it to your kid or your grandma or whatever. And it's like all the shit they say. So it's like and then you throw all the politics on top of it, which if people don't believe any of that, I think you're being a little naive. Like, in times like this, people, use it to gain more power. It doesn't matter what side, what side you're on.
Yeah.
You could be on the Trump side over here and you're gaining more power. You can be on the other side over here and you're gaining power or trying to work an agenda. And the average person is the one that's getting fucked by all that because you don't really know. No. Is this as dangerous as it is? And should I be completely worried and do everything? Or is there a little bit of some kind of agenda behind it that's pushing this further than it really needs to be pushed?
Yeah.
So it's fucked. You can't figure it out. And that's what sucks. I just wish there was an outlet or a network or whatever that just said, hey, all we're doing is going to give you the fucking facts and the truth. And that's it. But unfortunately that doesn't exist, or at least I don't know of it. If it does, let me know.
No, there's nothing like that exists.
I'm right in the middle. I'm right in the middle on all the politics and everything. I'm right in the middle, dude. Yeah. I love gay people, gay marriage, right to this, right to that. I love guns. I'm a gun guy, gun collector. Like there's certain things that one side I like, certain things on the other side I like. And that's it. I'm kind of like down the middle. But unfortunately, there's so many people that are like extreme on one end, extreme on the other, and they're not willing to talk or discuss anything in the middle. So like, I think where I am is like a minority. And I think they like it like that. I think they like it for people to be so divided. You're either hardcore one side or hardcore the other. That's what they want. They don't want the in the middle people.
Well, it's easier to own two sides than it is to own three.
Exactly. Yep. And that's kind of like the middle class. If you're rich, you're set. If you're poor, as bad as it may seem, there's a lot of things for you. If you're in the middle, man, you're kind of like you're in that lost space, and not as many people are looking out for you. So I don't know. The whole fucking thing's a mess. I just want the thing to go away. I don't give a shit who solves it or how. I just want to go back to normal shit that I like doing, that you like doing, that we all like doing. Get off these fucking
How are the guys
arguments.
in Japan taking it? Are they getting hit hard?
No, well, I mean, they certainly are scared, and they're, if you've ever been over there, you met those guys. They're very mild manner for the most part, and I'm not saying they're scared or anything like that, but they treat it a little differently. Like, I think they respect their government more than we do here, and how things work, and they have rules, and they follow those rules pretty strongly. Like, we're here, we don't. We're like, hey, this is what I believe, this is what I'm doing. You go do that. I don't give a shit. I'm doing my thing. Over there, it's different. Yeah, exactly. So over there, it's different, and even though like Tokyo is a super dense city, in fact, I think it's the densest city in the world. They don't really have the outbreak in the cases. So if they have, let's just say they have 100 people that have died and 20,000 people that have it out of, X million, like the numbers and stuff really aren't really anything to worry about, but they are worried.
Yeah.
And they do, they're following to the book. I've talked to a bunch through Instagram, and, we text each other and see what's up and all that. And, they see what they see on the news here, and they think everything every state, every town is like the New York footage when they're showing you the worst of the worst.
Yeah, the bags and
Oh yeah, I
the
just
18-wheelers.
exactly. I just sold a bike to a buddy and who's over there, and he's a big time racer guy, and he literally thought that I was like living in a war zone. Like he's seeing military trucks and I can't leave my house, and how's he going to get the bike, and am I going to be able to get the money? I'm like, dude, turn the TV off. If I can't tell you, if you were at my house right now, you would never know the shit is going on.
Yeah.
Except if you went to the store and you saw somebody in a mask, or the traffic is a little lighter than normal, even though it's starting to ramp up. Like there's very few things.
What about the different. Home Depots and the Lowe's, man? Because they are fucking slammed over here.
So Saturday, my refrigerator goes out at our house after just buying like $500 worth of food. Dude, there's nothing on this earth more right now that could be worse, other than if your air went out, if you're in a hot climate, or your fucking fridge going out. So of course,
my electricity went out once we stocked up on supplies.
So you know what I'm going through. I got 6 people living in the house. We got fucking enough food. You know, I mean, we're going still 2 times a week because we're eating like horses. But the fridge goes out. I got to go to fucking Lowe's. So I try to buy the thing online. You know, they say they have it in stock. They don't. Anyway, it's a 4-hour ordeal. Finally order the thing, get the right one, go down there, wait 2 hours curbside. These dudes wheel it out, which, you know, I feel for those dudes. They're working. The one guy, I can't help you load it. My back's fucked up. This kid, you know, so I load a 600-pound fridge in my son's truck, basically with a kid working there. Get it home. It's too big to get in the doors. Got to take the whole fucking fridge apart. Me and my son pull a 600-pound fridge in the house with no dolly, you know, dragging it on cardboard and blankets, and I'm screaming and yelling, pulling my back out and all the shit. It's like, fuck, it was the worst. It was the worst. But those places are packed.
Yeah,
they're packed, dude. I couldn't believe how many people were at Lowe's, or you drive by Home Depot, or fucking Walmart or Costco. It's like, it's insanely packed.
Yeah,
insanely packed. You know, and people are still buying cars. And like a buddy works at, you know, Mercedes. He's like, dude, we're selling more cars than we normally do because of all the financing and all the special rates and shit. And people with money, they don't give a shit what's going on. They're all buying cars. So it's like, it's almost normal in a sense, you know, other than a few things being closed and, you know, no sporting going on or no concerts or shit like that. It's like, it's not what you see on TV for the most part. Like, yeah. I haven't seen or been affected directly at all, period. At all, except a guy I sold a bike to in Russia had it. He did some shit on Instagram, and I followed him. We chatted, and he explained to me what happened. And another friend of ours, his mom got it back east, and, you know, she got it pretty hard, but now she's okay. Like, I know people have it, and I know people are dying, and I know people are sick, but as far as being affected directly, or my little circle, like, thank God, knock on something, we've been lucky, and it's just not running rampant.
Yeah.
You know, back to the point is, all those dudes see that stuff on TV and on the news, and they think that, like, LA is like, you know, Escape from LA. It's like this fucking Armageddon scenario, and it's not.
You got a bug out bike?
I don't. I
got a bug out vehicle for you and the family?
I do. I've got a trailer, and, you know, I got a F350 diesel with a camper on it and stuff like that. I mean, when you say bug out, it's like, where the fuck did I go? There's 45 million people here. It's like, just try to get out of town. It's like, there's 40 million people in California, which is scary.
It's a lot of people.
Then you got probably another 5 to 10 million illegal folks. And again, I'm not bagging on those guys, whatever. You got 45, 50 million people here. Imagine if we're all trying to get out somewhere, where the fuck are we going to go? First of all, we wouldn't be able to move. So I could have, you know, unless I had a helicopter, I mean, all this camping shit and survival stuff I have, as fun as it sounds, it's like, I'm not going anywhere. You know, like, where can I go? You know, there's nowhere to go. But I got all the shit, you know, and I've had all that stuff. And I've been a germaphobe, and anybody who knows me will tell you way before this shit started.
Really?
You know? Oh, dude, washing my hands and using wet wipes and shit. Dude, I've told the story of me going to swap meets with buddies, and I'll pick them up at 4 a.m. and I already grabbed the coffee because I'm a coffee dude. I'll wipe the fucking lids down with wet wipes. They take a drink and they're like, "Oh, it tastes like soap." I'm like, "Yeah, I cleaned your lid for you," because the chick used her thumb to push the fucking lid down. You know, or at our booth at any of the swap meets, dude, you come by, there's antibacterial fucking sanitizer or wipes or whatever. And, so I've always been like that. So, that stuff's nothing new to me. Like, I already had all that shit to begin with. So, having no hand sanitizer or wet wipes available to the world, I still have quite a bit.
That's awesome.
So my family's like that too. They probably hate me for it, but they've learned how to coexist with
the kids have been
shit
at home.
Yeah. So, it's a bummer. So I got a 21-year-old daughter who is graduating from college up at San Luis Obispo at SLO, which is a rad college. She's done fantastic, super smart kid, beach girl, loves outdoors, all that. She doesn't get to graduate this year. I mean, she's graduating technically, but doesn't get to do all the shit. So it's like, that sucks. So we spent all this money and all this shit, and my son started college here locally. It's at a city college, thank God. And his classes now it's all online. And I have another daughter who's 13. She was graduating middle school, and we're not going to be able to do that. And my littlest one who's 10 is graduating grammar school or elementary school. We're not going to be able to do all that. So, we missed 3 graduations and all that stuff, which is fun. But having said all that shit, dude, it's been great having them all home. And they've been getting along pretty damn good.
That's awesome.
Everybody's riding bikes and going on walks. And, dude, we got 3 dogs. They've never been petted and walked and touched this much in their entire life. The kids are drawing and baking and swimming, and we got a pool, thank God. And everybody's having fun. They're watching shows and doing shit. Like, it's actually been super good and super fun, and probably something we're gonna all remember down the road about, like, kind of reconnecting with your family.
Absolutely.
I try to be a good family guy. I mean, I do, but I have my own interests and shit. And this motorcycle world takes a lot of time, and we go a lot of places away from the family. So just being home and all that, it's actually been really good.
Yeah, I mean, I've completely taken advantage of it. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in the shop, but I've also spent a lot of time, with the wife and kids. I took the kid. We went out on a pretty, it wasn't like a full day or anything, but I took him out on the canoe. Gave him a paddle. He was pretty stoked. We've done some cool, a lot of mini bike riding.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I mean, if you can do it and you're in an area that will allow it for people, like, I really feel bad for those folks and that are in the high density areas, New York and New Jersey and Michigan, where you're on top of each other. Imagine living in that environment where, I don't care if you believe this shit or you don't. The fact is, there's a shitload of people that are sick, and you're fucking living in a building with 1,000 people breathing the same air, getting in the same elevator, getting in the same subway or bus or whatever. It's like, I couldn't even imagine surviving in that climate, dude. I wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, especially with the way I already am before this happened. Like,
I think we're going to see a surge of people moving from the city and, like, getting, further away. Once this is all kind of cleared up, people are going to reevaluate where they're living at.
I agree with you. And I've been talking about getting out of California for years. And I've looked, I haven't been there, which is ridiculous, but I've looked, through buddies who live there online or just checking shit out on other states. And I got to talk the family into doing it, and then obviously we got Born Free, so we'd have to figure out how to wrangle that. So if anybody wants to buy my half, let me know.
Damn.
I'm kidding. But no, we could still do the show. But I would love to get out of California, man. I mean, as much as it has to offer, and I get it, if you live in Tornado Alley or, Humidville, back east where it's super humid, or some of these states with the violent weather, which I couldn't do. And you want to come out here, I get it. But I want to live in the mountains, dude. I want to live like, I say this, I've never been there, so it's stupid. I want to live in Idaho. I'm just throwing that out there as my
Idaho? Dude,
yeah.
So the podcast I put out today was with Mikey Virus, and that's exactly where he wants to move to. Is fucking Idaho.
There's like 2 million people, maybe 2.5 million people in Idaho, and yeah, it's growing, and there's California people, especially folks that have made money here, retirees or firemen or whatever, buying shit up, but it's just like a dream spot. Like, my dad used to always want to go to Bend, Oregon. I don't know why. We never went there as a family. He used to try to move us there. Like, that was the talk, and to get in this big fight. And I don't want to go. And my mom, like, I'm not going to Bend, Oregon. Dude, I wish we would have fucking moved to Bend, Oregon.
Bend is beautiful, man.
I don't know why he had a hard on for that place. But I feel like, look, I'm 50 years old now. If we don't do something in the next 5 years, well, I'm going to move when I'm fucking 60 years old or 70 and I can't do shit. Like, I'm still active and want to do something and have enough energy to take on a new challenge or a new task. Like if we moved somewhere and got an old house that needed work or something with a shop or a barn, like
Yeah, you
I
can
got
do it.
I got the strength and the health to do it. But anything can happen. Fuck, 10 years from now I could have an issue or an injury or be dead or whatever. It's like, if we're going to do it, probably need to do it soon. But it is hard to leave here because as much as we want to bitch about the weather and the summer being a little too hot or it's humid or whatever, it's like, we're not waking up with our fucking roof torn off, or having to scramble to survive some tornado or some hailstorm or a hurricane or all the shit that people have to go through. Like,
yeah, but those are all exciting, dude. I mean,
I know,
I've been in Tornado Alley. Like, it's like storm weather watching season, like watching the weather guys, like there's the pros up there in Oklahoma, a good western view, watching the storms roll in, the weather change, the wind pick up. You can feel like the atmosphere changing. It's all fucking cool, man. I remember like going and hunting tornadoes as a kid in my dad's truck, like driving around and looking for them.
Yeah, you're crazy.
That's exciting, man.
You're crazy.
We went on this trip in my van a couple years ago. We were going up to New Mexico. We were going to go visit JP in our spot in New Mexico in Red River. And this storm was so gnarly, and we get to a point where it like quit raining, like you could see that it was still out. And I'm like going 70, 75 in the van. And when it would lightning, it would light up the whole sky. And I like get my kids. I'm like, all right, kids, wife, everybody. Whenever it lightnings, I need everybody to be looking in every direction. So I got this direction, you got that way, and like we need to see if there is a tornado on the ground. Like that is your job. When the lightning hits, look so that we can make sure we're not fixing to drive into one.
No,
exciting,
no,
man.
thanks. No, thanks. When I was in Fresno, I was in grammar school, and we had a tornado come through, and it's really rare, like you get a funnel cloud or something every blue moon in Southern California or even Northern Cal or whatever, some thunderstorm will spin off. And this tornado came in. I was like in the 4th grade, and it took half the roof off the Fresno airport. And at the time,
whoa,
the Fresno airport isn't what it is today. Like they have flights that go all over now, where before it was like you could go to LA maybe, or, San Francisco or whatever. But I stayed home from school for 3 weeks after that. I was so fucking scared because literally I lived right by the airport, and we were at school and we saw the storm come in. We're at elementary school. We're out on the playground. It got all dark and black and cold. And it's like, you could see the funnel cloud, and we, the school is maybe a mile from the airport, but you could see the shit when it's all happening in front of you.
Yeah.
And I remember going, and I was afraid of tornadoes, dude. I still am from that one experience. So there's no way in the world I would ever move anywhere.
You're not coming to Tornado Alley, huh?
No, can't
Dude,
do
we
it.
used to have tornado drills in school growing up, like everybody like hiding under your desk was really going to do anything, but
yeah,
we used to
no
do
thanks. A buddy of mine, Dave Bond, just bought a house in Waco or outside of Waco, Texas. His daughter lives out there, and he's a California guy. He's moving from the Central Coast, and I mean, he's so stoked. I'm so happy for him. He got a killer place at a good price. He's with his kids, having a great time. And man, I would love to do that. And then, it's just like, but that weather, it's just like, I can't get it out of my mind. Maybe if I went there, shit, a bee just came in my truck. Maybe if I went there and saw it and like realized, okay, it's not as bad and it's kind of cool. And the whole sky is bitchin' looking. But from an outsider's perspective, I'm like, fuck no.
No, you should come and visit, man. I mean, like Waco's beautiful. They have like a wave park there now, like an artificial wave. They've got great mountain biking trails. The river runs right through town. Good places to eat. All like the new, like all the weird artsy fartsy cool people that used to live in Austin have kind of moved up to Waco, and now that Austin's just out of control, it's like California down there. That's the California of Texas.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it looks fun, man. And he was sending me some photos. They were fishing in some little stream or river that was right outside his kid's place, and just looked like exactly what I would want. So I don't know. I got to get the balls to go to one of those spots and check it out. But
Idaho is beautiful, though. I've been up there. I rode through there twice last year. Actually, I drove through on the way to the One Moto show. And we went by like, what's the canyon Blacks. The canyon Knievel jumped over. What was it?
Snake
River,
Canyon.
Snake River Canyon. Idaho is beautiful. So,
a buddy. Actually, we got a bunch of friends live in Utah, and I don't know. Maybe it's just this dream of living like a little simpler.
Yep,
Like
yep.
I don't know. We're right in. We live in Orange County, so we're a little away from all the hustle and bustle, especially where I live. Like I don't go to LA. I hate LA. I don't go there at all. Period. I don't get out of Orange County unless I absolutely fucking have to.
Dude, nobody in
And
California leaves their neighborhood, hardly.
you can't. I mean, like when people, like when I grew up, you go visit your grandma or you go visit friends or relative, on a Saturday or Sunday. You're like, oh, we're gonna go, and it's like it's 20 minutes to get there. So it's like, okay, we'll leave at 1 o'clock because we got to be there at 2 o'clock for lunch or whatever. Here, it's like you go 30 miles, it could take you 3 fucking hours.
Yeah.
So that whole idea of like, oh, just shoot over your house, like that's not real here. Like it doesn't happen like that.
It's wild.
And I just feel like, man, I just love to get outside of that. And the only reason I'm saying Idaho, and again, I've never been there, is I got a buddy, Todd, lives there outside of Boise, and it seems a lot like here to a degree. Like people's wages are good and they're somewhat level headed for the most part, but there's the killer mountains and lakes, and I love to fish and hike and camp, or at least want to, and all that stuff. It just seems like a good spot. Like I don't want to move in some rural ass crazy place.
Hi, it's Mike Davis, and I'm away from the phone right now. Please leave me your name, area code, and... Hi, it's Mike Davis, and I'm away from the phone right...
Yes, sir.
Dude, you got me back?
Yeah, I got you back.
Okay, sorry about that. My phone overheated. I've never had that happen before.
While you were using it?
Yeah,
What
dude,
are
I'm
you,
sitting
standing in the
truck.
sun?
No, I was sitting in my truck and just didn't realize the thing was sitting on the dash. I got those earphones in, and all of a sudden the thing just fucking emergency thing came on and it went black. I had to throw it in the freezer. Sorry about that.
I mean, I've seen a fucking phone my phone is overheated, but that's just from leaving it in the sun. That's wild.
Yeah, I wasn't even paying attention. It was just sitting on the dash.
Dude, we were fucking daydreaming about Idaho.
Yep. Are we back on?
Yeah, we're back on, dude.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, Idaho, man. So that's just an idea.
You think do they got Bigfoots in Idaho? Is Idaho like known territory?
It's not. I wouldn't say it's a super hot spot, but absolutely for sure have Bigfoots in Idaho.
Really?
Yep.
So I'm going on a Bigfoot scouting trip. June, I think is when that's going to happen.
Where?
Eastern Oklahoma and Arkansas.
Dude, Texas. I think it's East Texas has a lot of sightings, a lot of reports, a lot of crazy shit goes on in Texas.
Yeah, East Texas is bonkers, and it's beautiful. Dude, the riding. Dude, you would love East Texas, man. There's tons of riding out there. The weather's beautiful. They actually get rain. They don't, like, experience the droughts like the rest of the state does. They don't get near the tornadoes.
Really? I thought they'd get a lot there.
East Texas is, they get them, but it's not, it's not like Oklahoma or northern. Okay, they get them. They get them. I'm just.
Not as bad. I bought this truck, this old 4x4 truck a few years ago from a dude who lived in East Texas, and he sent me a picture. He was actually a really cool dude. He was like a gnarly, like, gun collector, like the crazy Buffalo guns, the real expensive shit. And he sent me all these photos of his ranch, and it was like, dude, it looked like the Sierras, like trees, pine trees, or whatever trees they were. It looked like the Sierra Nevadas or the Rocky Mountains. I was like, you're in Texas? He's like, yeah, man, this is East Texas, has all these forests and stuff, and I had no idea.
Yeah, it's beautiful over there. It's like some point you get when you're headed east, all of a sudden it turns into pine tree country.
Yep. So I don't know. One of these days, when this shit's over, definitely like to get out and go to a few of these spots and see them for myself. I definitely want to go visit my buddy in Texas and go see Jeff and those guys.
You take the family on big vacations or what?
We
do like the big Griswold family vacation?
We try. It's hard. It's hard because, I got older ones now, and it's hard to get everybody fired up.
There's a spread. So to, like, find some place to get everybody excited about seems pretty tough.
They like going to Hawaii, for sure. Everybody loves that.
Yeah.
We haven't gone in like 3 or 4 years, but we were doing like a yearly, Hawaii trip, which, all my family, they love the beach and all that stuff. My daughter likes to surf and skateboard, and everybody loves the beach. So that's good. Last year we went camping. We bought a trailer, and we went camping up in the Sierras for, I don't know, about 6 days. We camped for a few days with the trailer.
With all the kids?
With everybody except my oldest daughter. She went on her own deal. So I had my son and then the 2 younger ones. But we had a blast, man. We were up near Shaver Lake, up in the Sierras. Rented a boat for a couple days, did all that. Fun. You make
them ride in the back of the truck all the way there?
I wish. Dude, I rode, my dad had a boat. My dad, like I told you before, my dad was a nut. He'd come home with shit, and my mom was like, where did you get that? I mean, he probably stole half the stuff, but me and my brother rode in a boat in the cabin, like a little cuddy cabin of a boat, for like a 10-hour.
No way.
We went up to Tahoe.
Way, dude.
Fresno to Tahoe inside the boat.
That's insane.
I know. I was just like, I tell my kids that, they're like, no way. I'm like, yep. I didn't even think twice about it.
That's awesome.
Didn't even think twice. We're in the boat. I remember my brother sitting in the chair, like with the steering wheel going down the fucking freeway, and like, no, my dad didn't even think nothing of it. I don't even think my mom did. And she was kind of a worrywart. So I'm surprised she even allowed that shit. But man,
what kind of truck did your dad have back then?
He had a 78 Chevy, like Cheyenne, 4-wheel drive. I remember it was light blue, 2-tone. It was light blue with white. And then, like I said, he had a camper, just like a shell, like one of those louvered blue and white shells that match.
Oh, it sounds badass, dude.
Yeah, it was the typical,
Was it a dually?
No, it's just a regular Chevy half-ton. I mean, again, he would bring shit home all the time. And I think that's where I got a little bit of this, I like to buy and sell and stuff and touch it and feel it. And then I'm over it and I move on to something else. I think I got that kind of from him because, like I said, he'd bring shit home, a dune buggy, a custom car, like a new Cadillac, and just be like, where did this shit come from?
What kind of projects are you working on right now?
I have, I've been selling stuff actually a lot.
I've been seeing that, yeah.
Trying to catch some money, put some money aside just in case, I haven't worked a regular job in a month and a half, and I work straight commission.
Really? So the flooring's done right now? Not
getting paid a dime.
Wow.
Not getting paid a dime, and I haven't got any of that precious stimulus money. I'm not on unemployment. Didn't try to get some small business shit, which I know guys are struggling even to get signed up. So I didn't get any of that. So I've been selling a few things, but I have active projects. I got this little Triumph pre-unit deal that's at the shop that needs to be put together. I mean, it's literally probably could be done in a week if I just would put some time to it. And I wanted to have that at Born Free, and I still am hoping to, because I'm doing like a little pre-unit show, and I'm kind of putting that together. So I'd love to have that bike there. It's cool. It's different. it's got, it's a little bit longer, narrowed fork and a little bit of a stretch frame, which is normally what I like in the pre-units, but it's a little bigger of a bike. So I think I could actually ride the thing, and, Harpoon painted it, and it's got a bitchin' motor and some stuff like that. And then I got this panhead thing over with Jeff Layton in Utah, that he's doing all the fabrication and putting it all together for me. Just way beyond my scope. And I want a killer bike.
Yeah.
And Jeff's one of those guys, and there's a lot of them out there, but like his attention to detail and the shit that he can do. I'm not a welder or fabricator, so I'm not going to even talk about that. But like the stuff that these guys can do is so much better. And I have no problem paying somebody to do something for me if I want that level. If I just want my own little rider, shitbox or whatever, yeah, I'll do my own stuff the best I can, and I don't care. But this thing, I want full show. Like, it's got a gnarly motor, big dual carb, really unique motor, really unique motor. And then the frame's all narrowed, and, the whole, every chopper thing you could do to it. And Jeff is doing it all. And it also requires a lot of thinking, because I got an electric start on there that's all hidden away, and a bunch of other crazy tricks.
Which electric start did you use?
It was from W&W, and it's their new one. It's a brand new one. It's really small. It's really going to be hidden. And Jeff's working kind of with Andy, because he's kind of like a scientist too, on I want it all hidden so you don't see any of it.
Is it the one that's underneath the transmission? I
think so. It's the newest one. I mean, they sent it to me in a big crate, and I just basically gave it to Jeff. I don't even know how the fucking thing works, but
well, they had one at the show last year.
I don't think it was that one. I think it's a newer one, as far as what I understand, but I could be wrong.
Gotcha.
And then like all the controls and stuff are like, they're going to nerd out all that. I want it to look like you don't know how the thing works, Wow. Like, your foot peg might be the brake, and, your other foot might be the shifter or whatever. So like a little bit of more of a modern.
So you're letting him kind of do his thing. You just kind of gave him a direction and said, run with it.
Everything. Yep. I mean, we talk all the time. We talked yesterday about how we want the primary to be, and because he's going to build a one-off primary cover for it and stuff like that. But the bike's going to be cool for sure. I mean, a lot of the bits came from, like, I got the frame and the fork from Paul Green, and it's this narrowed pan frame that's all swoopy. And then Jeff fixed it all and de-raked it. And then, like I said, the motors, I've posted photos of it. The motor's insane. And I just want
it's going to be a de-raked bike?
It's not, it was raked. So he just brought it back to, I think he put it at like 29 degrees.
Gotcha. Which
is kind of like in between the two. I think
it's like a 4-finger rake job right there.
Yeah. And then, it's got a longer fork. So it's a little different than my like normal wheelhouse, which is a fucking panhead with a peanut tank and some Flanders bars and a bait seat. Like, this is way more. I didn't want anything on there that was old as far as the parts go. Everything is fabricated or something new. Because I used to be, and I have changed my ways. It's like we all have over the years. It's like, oh man, I want this part and that part, and this number has to be on there, and fucking Flanders sticker and all this bullshit. I don't care anymore. I want this bike to look a certain way, and if I wanted it the other way, I would just do it myself.
Yeah.
I want Jeff to put in work and come up with cool ideas.
What's
and
the name of his shop?
He's Wretched Hive, Jeff Layton.
Gotcha.
So Jeff does, race bikes and choppers and all that stuff. But he's just, I think he shares a shop with Andy from Pangea, and I think Brooke and a couple other, maybe Danny, I'm not sure. But he just moved out to Utah about a year or so ago, has a baby and living his life, and it sounds great. But he's just one of those meticulous dudes that when you're giving it into the right hands, like, he's almost like me if I had any talent. Like, I'm not gonna, he's very, very meticulous, and he thinks about shit, and he does incredible top-notch work where he knows, like, this is not going to break, but it also looks insane. Yeah. So like, there's some guys who like, it's a rider brother and does all this stuff so they can ride the thing across the country. It's bulletproof. And then there's those guys that can do all the crazy looks and fabrication, but there's no practicality. It's like it could break at any moment, or it's not strong structurally. Jeff's like one of those guys who can do both. So he takes all the style and visual, but then makes it all functional. and sturdy and will last, you know. So it's not like what we talked about in the early days of my Triumph where you ride it down the street and the fucking headlight falls off and the hardtail cracks. This is like, you know, something that won't, you know, he's the guy that's not going to happen
when
to.
it's
but
done, it's done.
Yeah, exactly. And with the style, you know, it's really hard for guys to put the talent and then have the eye and style together. That's a really hard combination.
Yeah.
So Jeff's one of those guys, not to keep pumping him up, but he's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, I want to go back, before we shut this down, I want to go back to the Bigfoot thing.
Oh, yeah, please.
Bigfoot believer. What exactly does that mean?
Well, dude, I've always been fascinated with fucking monsters and Bigfoot and all that shit. When I was a kid, like watching those shows, just like everybody else. I don't know how old you are, but I'm 50. So if you grew up in the 70s, you know, $6 Million Man, the Bigfoot thing.
$6 Million Man, what's that one? I'm not 50. I'm 35, so we got a gap.
You don't know what the $6 Million Man is?
No.
You know what the Incredible Hulk is?
Yeah.
Okay, well, $6 Million Man was a show in the 70s. Lee Majors, who was like an action star of the 70s. You got to Google it, dude. If you don't know what the $6 Million Man is, I'm sorry. It's like, fuck, it was like, you got to know. Anyway,
so it was like a TV show?
Yeah, it was a TV show. He's like an astronaut. They put him back together. He was bionic. He had the eye and the strength and all this stuff. Anyway, he had a Bigfoot episode or a couple of them. And, you know, that again sparked my interest there, besides like In Search Of. I don't know if you've ever even heard of those shows. You're probably too young, but there were all these like shows that would come on, not like today, like YouTube and fucking, you know, Netflix and Amazon that have a million Bigfoot.
This was like ancient aliens from the 70s.
Exactly. Like there wasn't a lot of shows, but what there was, you know, I loved it. And then like I had all the toys, you know, I was a toy and a figure dude and Hot Wheels and shit like that. So, you know, any kind of like monster toys or Bigfoot toys or Frankenstein, you know, I loved all the horror movies and all that stuff. So, you know, all that kind of always interests me. And then, you know, you jump forward with like all the Bigfoot shit now with all the shows and the podcasts and the videos and, you know, all that stuff is just like, I don't know what it got me again. It's just like, I'm interested in it. And I totally believe that there's something out there for sure. There's just way too many people having, you know, sightings and experiences and all that shit to be completely not real. You know, like if you think about, you know, 50, 60, 70,000 sightings over the last 50 years, all it takes is one to be telling the truth.
Yeah.
You know, to make it real. And then you hear these, you know, CHP and these forestry guys and these government officials and all these people that have seen this stuff. And, you know, cops and all this stuff have had these experiences and seen this stuff. It's like, is every one of those people, you know, reputable people making this shit up?
So have you had any experiences yourself?
I haven't. I'd love to. I mean, we've gone out camping a few times, and I don't do all the hokey shit you see on the shows, you know, bang on trees and fucking yell and scream, but certainly been talking about it a lot more with the few that the crew that we go camping, and we have a little group chat and shit. It's Chris Huber, Jason Weber from ATR, and then Turkey Stopnik, who's one of the Psycho Zombies dudes, and he moved up to the mountains. So he's living that shit every day, and he's a big time Bigfoot believer. So we have these conversations back and forth, and he works like in forestry and stuff and fire maintenance and shit. So he's out on these roads sending me photos about, we got to go here, we got to go there. I don't know. It's something to do. I mean, I like to camp anyway.
Yeah.
And my buddy Chris, the guy I mentioned, Huber, got me into camping again, and I got a truck and a camper and stuff. So it's just part of the fun. I mean,
do you know Robbie? He used to live in Birmingham over with the Haints at the dojo, and then I think he's been in Colorado the past couple of years.
I know who he is.
Bigfoot tattoo on his chest.
I haven't seen that, but I do know who he is, and I have heard that those Haints dudes are Bigfoot believers and all that stuff. So haven't had a chance to chat with them, but yeah, I've heard about it.
Yeah, you would enjoy that. I didn't know that at all, and somebody came in and said something about Bigfoot. And it was some random dude off the streets, and I'm like, fucking call him bullshit or something. And then all these dudes look at me like, what the fuck do you mean you don't believe in Bigfoot? It was serious.
Dude, there's some killer podcasts out there. There's some killer documentaries that it's something, you know, it's like a monster mystery kind of thing. You know, like if you like horror movies and you're into monsters and hoping that some of that shit could be real.
Yeah.
You know, Loch Ness Monster or whatever. Like, I don't know. I grew up like that. So it's always been an interest of mine. Like, I hate Star Wars with a passion, and I'll bag on anybody that likes fucking Star Wars, but I like Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Like,
do you do any kind of hunting? Are you a hunter at all?
Not really. Like, you know, younger, growing up, you know, we go dove hunting or quail hunting or shit like that. But I never really like, you know, big game. I would love to go deer hunting with somebody who knows and learn how to like skin a deer and field dress it and all that shit. And like learn a little bit about that. I love to fish.
Yeah.
Even though I don't get to do it as much as I'd like. I mean, I grew up fishing, and people who don't know Fresno, it's in the Central Valley, California, but you have the Sierras, like the most incredible mountains in the world, or, you know, 20 miles away.
Yeah, I'd like to go spend some time up there more than I already have.
You know, Bass Lake, Shaver Lake, Yosemite, you know, all that stuff. You know, you get up into Tahoe, you know, Truckee, all those areas. I mean, it's like it's God's country. And you know, when I was little, my dad liked to fish, so we would go up in the mountains all the time and go fishing and stuff like that. Never had a Bigfoot encounter before, but also wasn't looking or listening either. And I think that's, you know, when you get a little more tuned into it, I don't know, maybe open yourself up to it a little bit more. We had some crazy shit happen to us last year. We went on a camping trip up in Death Valley, way up in the higher elevation. There's a couple of some weird noises we heard. We heard these ladies talking, and we're 4 or 5 hours 4-wheel drive trail.
Oh, wow.
Like not away from civilization. Like you'd have to be in a 4-wheel drive and drive 4 or 5 hours up into the mountains to get near people. And you know, the trail we were on, like if anybody was coming or anybody was there, you'd certainly know because it was all open. But we were eating lunch at this little weird oasis spot, which is just the trippiest place in the world is Death Valley. Have you ever gone there? It's like, it's weird. We were eating, and it clear as day, man, you hear this woman's voice just talking. I mean, me and a buddy, Dave, the guy who moved to Texas, at the same exact time, I'm like, did you hear that? And it was just like this woman's voice. And then a buddy of ours the night before had some fucking whacked out of body experience. He thought I was waking him up and tell him to get up. It's time to eat breakfast and all this shit. And the guy got up at 3:00 in the morning, like frantic and screaming and all this stuff. It was weird. You know, there's definitely some weird shit that goes on out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's interesting to me. I'd like to get into it more if I could, but we'll see. If I move to Idaho, I'm becoming a Bigfoot researcher.
Nice. Well, come to Texas, man, and I'll take you out deer hunting. Show you how to skin
Oh, hell
deer.
yeah. Fuck yeah, I'd love to.
I
mean, I'm a gun dude, so I mean, I got all kinds of guns, but
yeah, I'm not even a gun dude. I just I like eating wild game. My kids like one of my youngest kid. He's 4 years old, and you don't have to tell him what kind of meat we're eating or anything. If it's wild game, he will eat all the meat until it's gone, and then ask for more. But if it's not wild game, he's not. You know, he may not even eat it. I don't know. It's strange. Like it's. I don't know.
My kids wouldn't even know if they ate, you know, venison or whatever. They would spit it out for sure.
Yeah.
Like, you know, which just sucks. I wish we could have had a little different upbringing with the kids and like be a little more into that stuff.
Well, the people I know that ate a lot of wild game growing up don't want to have anything to do with it now. You know, like, oh, I feel like I ate deer meat growing up as a kid. I don't, you know, I want beef now. So
I don't know. I kind of like it all. I
was chasing down a turkey before. I thought I was going to be cleaning a turkey when we were going to start this podcast, but the motherfucker got away, so I didn't have to.
Well, you're lucky that you're lucky you got that stuff out there that you can do that stuff with, man.
Well, that's the first turkey I've ever seen on the property, and I didn't. It was like the first time in weeks that I didn't at least have a pistol on me. And sure enough, this turkey, he was right on my driveway practically. And I'm in my van, like, you just fucking wait there. My driveway's, you know, half a mile long. By the time I got my shotgun and came back out, I couldn't find them. Is
it just like open season out there anytime, or is there
no
laws with the turkey?
Yeah, this is turkey season right now.
Oh, okay.
And I never even bother going turkey hunting because I've never seen them on our property. There's some pecan orchards that aren't far from me, and I see tons of them there. I mean, we have a lot of turkeys out here. On our piece of property, I've never seen one until today. So now, the next, couple of weeks, probably every morning I have a chance, I'm going to go out and see if I can't spook one up. Just because I saw one, you know? But that's all it takes, dude. That's all it takes to put one in the freezer is one.
Oh, for sure, man. I'd love to be able to have some property like that and go out and do some fun shit, without having to make a big to-do about it and plan some fucking big, long, expensive hunting trip. Just being able to go out on your property.
Do you have like public land out there close by? Surely you do, right?
There is, but I haven't really gotten into it. Like I do have buddies that hunt, and I got a buddy who's actually in Milwaukee, Mike Lowney, who's like he used to work for Harley, and he was one of our Harley contacts in the beginning. Like he's a big time hunter. He's got 80 acres in upper Michigan, upper UP. That he's been inviting me to come out there and do all that. He's the gnarly outdoorsman. So I'd like to do that one of those days, or take you up on one of your offer.
You should do it, man. I mean, having that fresh meat in the freezer is so good. It's like amazing. The meat that's just running around out there, wild in the woods.
Oh yeah, he's always sending me photos about stuff he's gotten, and I don't know. It just looks fun. Plus, like what's going on, like you mentioned earlier, it's like being able to hunt and have your own food and not be so reliant on, fucking grocery store or whatever. Like, I don't know. It sounds kind of neat to maybe start thinking about, we've been talking about maybe getting some chickens and raising some hens or something, just something, that's out of the norm. So you're not, so reliant again, like on, all the shit that's going on. You could be a little more self-sustaining, I guess.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah,
I don't know. It all sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is. It's all fun. It's all fun and games, man. It's all fun and games. Well, Mike, I appreciate you taking time this morning to talk, talk racing, talk Born Free, talk COVID. It's all good, man.
Hell yeah. No, I appreciate you having me.
And I'm going to take you up on the bike this September. Now that you guys had changed plans, I got to take my wife out for her birthday. Last year we did a trip to California, went to Yosemite, actually ran into Grant at the Yerba Buena Road Run. And
yeah, for sure.
We were going to go to Hawaii, but I don't know. I don't know how that's maybe we need to go to California first.
Oh man, Hawaii's nice. But yeah, if you come out here, dude, you're more than welcome to. I'll get your bike, get you all dialed in.
Hey, so you've been to Hawaii. When's the best time to go? Because I was thinking like September, November, like that's when the whales come through, right?
I think so. We always would go spring break time or like July, because I had to get through Born Free. So those are the only times I've been. I've never been there around Christmas time, which I know a ton of people go.
Yeah.
Or that fall season. I think in the spring though, they do have the whale stuff too.
Gotcha.
We always go to Maui for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's just the way where we always go. And but we like it. It's a little slower pace and all that shit, and it's got everything you want. But
well, next time you go, you should look into. I always hear Rogan talking about Lanai and the little deer that they hunt out there, and how there's just so many fucking deer out there on that island.
Yeah, I've heard of the island for sure. I haven't listened to him too much, but yeah, dude, everything in Hawaii is bitching. I mean, it's hard to go wrong no matter where you go. It's so much fun, especially when you got the family with you and all that stuff.
Well, I'm leaving the family. I'm just taking the wife.
Oh, well, shit, even better. We don't get to do that. I don't think we've ever been on a vacation without the kids.
No shit.
I don't think they've ever even had a babysitter more than maybe a movie night or something like that, which is not very often.
We live on the property with our in-laws, or with my in-laws, and it's a double-edged sword, but man, is it nice just dropping them kids off, pawning them off on them.
We don't have it. Like I said, my mom's, 4 or 5 hours away. She's not in the best health. And then my wife's mom is up in Carlsbad, which isn't too far, but I don't know. We've just always done it like that.
Have you taken the kids to Carlsbad Caverns?
We haven't.
Oh man, that's a sweet one. I haven't taken my kids to any caves yet.
We've been, it's so funny you mentioned that. We've been talking about like planning a vacation, and instead of getting on a plane and doing all that shit, going to Hawaii or whatever, getting in the truck or taking the camper with us and go to all those spots, like, the Grand Canyon,
doing the Griswold family vacation.
Exactly, man. See all those tourist spots and all those places. I've always wanted to go to like, Yellowstone and Wyoming and Montana and all those, Idaho we mentioned, and Utah, do all that stuff. Just going to do it. We're going to plan a trip and just get in the damn truck and go. And
you got them all there right now. I think they're starting to open up the parks again. You ought to just fucking take off with them.
Yeah, I heard that Texas opened up their state parks, right, a couple days ago?
Yeah, they opened them up on Monday, and as of the 1st, they're opening up restaurants and everything. Or not everything, but the majority of businesses are getting to reopen on the 1st with like, no more than 25%.
Yeah.
Whatever that their limit of people is, capacity.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping that we get, that happens and get back to normal, open shit up and still try to be as safe as they can and be mindful of those people that are at highest risk. But yeah, you're right. We got to get back. We got to get back to this shit. It can't take it much longer. Everybody's going to be in really bad shape.
It's going to be bad. Yeah. Yeah. Fucking A.
So,
Mike, I'm going to let you go. I told the kids we were doing mandatory mini bike laps after lunch, so.
Well, that's a lot more fun than talking to me, dude. Well, listen, thanks for having me. I appreciate it and rapping. And just, as far as the Born Free stuff, like, we want people to come. We want them to feel safe. We'll do everything we can at that time and be following all the laws that we can, but still be free and be bikers and all that shit. And, we'll put out stuff on Instagram as we get it, any new info. So just people try to follow along and, we're easy to get a hold of. So shoot us a DM, an email, whatever. And, we'll try to answer questions the best we can, but hope to see everybody in September and you and
Beautiful.
racing.
Yeah. And if I can do anything else to help, don't ever hesitate to reach out. You have a wonderful day, Mike.
All right, man. Take it easy.
See ya. Dude, I think Donovan won a knife already. I really do. I'm calling Nick to find out right now. Maybe he'll answer. It's kind of early. Nah, it's fucking 7:45. He should be up. I think Donovan Walsh won a knife. Nick, what's happening? Well, I'm recording the outro right now. You're live on the air. Say what's up.
All right. What's up, y'all?
Hey, Donovan Walsh won a knife this month. Didn't he win a knife like the first year we did this?
Oh, man, I don't remember this.
Come on, Nick. You don't remember this? He's out of San Marcos. He works at a Harley. I think he works at a Harley dealership down there. We met him at Giddy Up 2 years ago when you were boothed up with me.
Right on.
And I think maybe I just remember meeting him. Maybe he didn't win anything. Maybe I'm crazy. I thought you could confirm yay or nay.
Yeah, I can't remember shit.
All right, Nick, when are we going to do a podcast?
Whenever you're ready, man.
Okay, well, we'll get it on the books. I'm going to finish this outro. You have a wonderful morning.
You too, brother.
Later. Okay, well, I remember meeting Donovan. What the fuck is going on here? Anyhow, Donovan, thank you for being a loyal patron. I want to thank all my sponsors, MC Shop Tees. Go sign up now. Brown Cycles, Motorcycle Sherpa, Lowbrow Customs, Knives Made by Nick, and High Seas Jerky. Hey, the Bucking Pig is doing barbecue tonight. That's right, tonight, barbecue at the Bucking Pig. Barbecue on your burger. Fuck, it's going to be sick. All right, today's show was great. I'm going to record some more. Am I putting out too many shows? Is it hard to listen to all of them? Well, then fucking don't listen to all of them. No, I'm just kidding. Listen to all of them. They're great, man. I mean... Dude, I was looking back at the string of guests I've had on. I've had some fucking great conversations here lately. I hope everybody's enjoying it. I hope that your bans and quarantines are getting lifted. And you guys are getting to go back to work. Because I'm sure that, not working, you probably don't have time to you're not just sitting at home listening to podcasts. Or maybe you are. I don't know. Seems to be people who are sitting at home watching fucking Instagram live videos. Or maybe they're not watching those either. All right, I'm going to stop rambling. You guys have a wonderful fucking day.